Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. It's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with amazing physical powers far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, wages a never-ending battle for truth and justice. Today, a frantic message from Lois Lane sends Clark Kent hurtling into action as Superman.
Get out where, Lois? What's happened?
I'm in a drugstore at the corner of River Drive and 132nd Street.
River Drive and 132nd?
That's right. Now hurry, Clark,
But...
please. Something terrible has happened. Hurry.
Gang, Soichi Sakamoto, as we've told you before, is recognized as one of the greatest swimming teachers in the world. For in the past 7 years, he developed twice as many national champions as any other coach. Sakamoto is a Japanese-American who lives on the island of Maui, not far from Honolulu. He had his first outstanding victory in 1937, when his teenage protégés won virtually all the races at the Hawaiian Championship indoor meet. Swimming experts immediately wanted to know how Sakamoto had made champions out of 13 and 14-year-old lads. Well, to everybody's amazement, it turned out that Sakamoto had been training the kids in a shallow, narrow sugarcane irrigation ditch miles from the ocean. And from that bunch of kids came 6 of the fastest swimmers in the world, and teams which have won 4 United States national championships. But Sakamoto's most wonderful triumph came with a part Hawaiian named Bill Smith. Bill had been stricken with typhoid fever, which left him unable to move his arms or legs. His dad, who had heard of the great coach, sent Bill to Sakamoto, and in 2 years, the boy practically turned into a fish. On May 23rd, 1941, in Honolulu, Bill Smith broke 3 world records for the 880, 900, and 1,000-yard distances. The next night, he broke the 550, 700, and 800-yard records. Honolulu went crazy with joy, as the once fever-crippled boy proved himself to be the greatest middle-distance swimmer in the world, and Sakamoto's prize pupil. Later in this program, gang, we'll give you some tips from Soichi Sakamoto on how you can improve your swimming. So, keep listening.
And now, the adventures of Superman. Superman's exciting and fantastic adventure in the land of the Princess Rev Peyton has come to an end. And now a new mystery has arisen to confront the Man of Steel, the full importance of which he does not yet realize. As we join Superman now, he is in his office at the Metropolis Daily Planet in his guise of Clark Kent. He looks up, a puzzled frown on his face, as cub reporter Jimmy Olsen enters.
You want to see me, Mr. Kent?
Oh, yes, Jim. Hustle down to Pier 8, will you? The Eastern Queen is docking there at noon.
Oh, you want me to interview some big shot that's coming in on the boat, huh?
Well, I don't know.
Huh?
No, you see, I just got a tip. 2 tips, in fact, that a terrific story is going to break when the Eastern Queen docks.
Oh,
So
what kind of a story?
I've no idea, Jim.
Well, who gave you the tip?
I don't know that either.
Oh, now, look, Mr.
No,
Kent.
on the level, Jim. On the level. We received a radiogram a little while ago sent from the Eastern Queen by somebody with the initials E.W.
E.W.?
Uh-huh, but don't ask me who E.W. is.
You
because...
don't know.
Right. The message said that a terrific story would break at noon today when the Eastern Queen docked, and for us to be sure to have a reporter there.
Golly, I wonder
Just
what...
a few minutes ago, some man called, refused to give his name, but he repeated the same information that was in the radiogram.
Hey, this sounds like big stuff.
Well, maybe yes, maybe not.
What do you mean, maybe not?
Well, I've seen some funny things in this business, Jim. Might be a legitimate tip, or it might be the work of a publicity hound, a practical joker, or even a crackpot.
Oh.
But we've got to follow it up just in case, so hop on down to Pier 8 like a good fellow. You'll meet Lois there.
Hey, what's the idea? Don't you think I can handle this alone without Miss Lane?
Oh, sure you can, Jim. But if the story is as big as somebody wants us to believe, we can use 2 reporters on the job.
Oh, well.
All right, get going, Jim. You'll have to hustle to be there on time.
Okay, Mr. Kent, I'm on my way. Miss Lane. Oh, Miss Lane.
Oh, Jim, what in the world took you so long?
My cab got stuck in the traffic. Listen, what gives you? What about this big story?
Huh. So far, I haven't even seen anything that looks like a small story.
You have?
No, and I've been here since the Eastern Queen docked. That was over half an hour ago, and most of the passengers have already left the ship.
Oh, Well, gee whiz, Mr. Kent got a radiogram and a phone call.
I know, and so apparently did every other newspaper in Metropolis.
They did, huh?
Sure, look around you. There's Terry of the Blade, and there's Winkler of the Journal.
Oh.
There's Thompson and Natalie Marks of the Times, and Harry Muldoon of the Gazette.
Shucks. Mr. Kent must have been right.
What do you mean?
Well, he said the tips might have come from some publicity hound or a practical
Wait a
joker.
minute, Jim. There comes the captain down the gangplank, and that woman with him looks familiar.
She does. Who is she?
Well, I can't quite recognize her from here, but she's probably some big shot traveling incognito, and... Uh-oh. The other reporters have spotted her, too. You wait here, Jim. I'll have a look.
Okay, let me know if she's anybody.
You bet.
I say, young man, would you do me a favor?
Well, yes, mister. What?
Just hold this little package for me until I get back, will you? I must make a phone call. That's a good chap.
But look.
Put it in your pocket. It's quite valuable. I'll be right back.
Well, wait a minute. Why can't you put it in your own pocket? Hey, mister.
I'll be right back.
But I won't be here long. Hey! Ducked into the crowd. Jesus, what goes on here?
For heaven's sake, Jim, where have you been? That tip was a phony, and I've been looking all over the pier for you.
Oh, Miss Lane,
Well, why didn't you stay where I left you?
you see...
The woman the captain escorted down the gangplank was Estelle Winston, the ex-movie queen. She and her press agent dreamed up the radiogram to the newspapers and the phone calls and the publicity stunt to get all the reporters down here because Estelle wants to make a comeback in pictures. How do you like that? All the reporters are furious.
I wonder where he went.
Where who went? Well, who are you looking for?
The man who left a little package with me.
What?
He said he was just going to make a phone call and would be right back. But he didn't come back, and I haven't been able to find him.
Jimmy, what man are you talking about?
I don't know who he is, Miss Lane. He's tall and thin and dressed real sharp.
You say he left a package with you?
Right. Got it in my pocket. See? Here it is.
Well, what is it?
Don't know. He said it was valuable and for me to hold it while he went to make a phone call.
A stranger left a valuable package with you?
Uh-huh.
Well, what was the idea? Why couldn't he take it with him?
I asked him that, but he rushed off without answering.
That's strange. How long ago was it, Jim?
About 20 minutes ago, right after you left me.
Well, he's had plenty of time to make his call and get back.
Sure he hasn't. I can't figure it out.
Look, is there a name or address on the parcel?
Nothing.
This is strange. Well, we can't stand around here all day, Jim. We've got to get back to the office. We'll find a dock official or a police officer and leave the package with him. Come on.
No, we can't do that, Miss Lane.
Why not?
We don't even know the man's name.
Well, but-
We might have a hard time locating and getting it back.
That's right. Let's see the thing, Jim.
Wait, let's get out of this mob first. Come on.
Okay, this is good enough, Jim. Now, let's see the package.
Here. Wrapped in a sort of metallic oilskin.
Rather heavy, too. Look, I hate to do this, Jim, but I think we'd better open it. There may be a name or address inside.
Oh, we can't do that. It's not our package.
I realize that, but we can't wait here all day for your friend to come back either. If he is coming back, we'll do it at the office.
I know, but...
Now, if there is a name and address inside, your troubles are over. Otherwise, we'll put an ad in the Lost and Found column of the Planet requesting your trusting friend to call for his parcel. Does that sound all right?
Well, I guess so.
Most of this package seems to be oilskin wrapping. There, it's just about all unwound. Now, we'll see. Well, of all the... Look, Jim.
They're nothing but a lot of dirty little stones.
That's right.
And pieces of broken glass. What is this?
Perplexed, Jimmy Olsen and Lois Lane stare at the strange contents of the little oilskin package. What does this mean? We'll be back in a moment for the startling climax of today's episode, so keep listening.
Gang, here are some swimming tips from Soichi Sakamoto, one of the world's greatest coaches who believes that everyone past the age of 5 can and should swim. To overcome a fear of water, the great coach advises that you go to the shallow part of the pool or beach, hold your breath, and duck your head underwater. Keep your eyes open under the water and look around. Do this a dozen times, says Sakamoto, and you'll find your fears are gone. Next step is to learn to float. Walk out waist deep. Squat until your shoulders are underwater. Hold your arms above your head and slowly lean back until the water makes a pillow for your head. Then push from the bottom. Your feet will rise and you'll drift along as smoothly as can be. Now then, as soon as you can float, you can swim. Try it by beginning with an overhand stroke, kicking 6 times for every 2 strokes. Confidence, patience, and practice will do the rest. From then on, it's just a question of improving your style. Make sure you relax when you swim. Don't fight the water. You'll speed along faster if you roll your head easily from side to side as you take in air. Don't hold it stiffly out of the water. Let your arms bend naturally at the elbows as you lift them for each stroke. And here's another tip. Be sure you breathe properly. Don't gulp air. Inhale on the left side and begin exhaling the moment your face turns down into the water. Make sure you perfect your all-important kick. The power should come from the thigh and ripple through flexed knees to the toes. Your feet should barely break the surface of the water. Well, there you are, gang. How to become an expert swimmer, as told by an expert coach. Now, go out and try it. But remember, never go out alone.
And now, back to the adventures of Superman. Reporters Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen have left the city pier, and in a taxicab are en route to the Daily Planet along River Drive. In Jimmy's pocket is the oilskin packet which the unknown man had left with him.
Well, it's a good thing I showed up, Jim.
Yeah.
You'd still be standing on the pier waiting for that practical joker to come back for his valuable collection of stones and broken glass.
Of all the corny jokes. And I fell for it.
Well, don't feel too badly, Jim. I was taken for a ride today, too.
Huh? What do you mean?
Well, have you forgotten the phony tips about the terrific story that was going to break when the Eastern Queen docked today?
Oh, yeah. It sure has been a profitable morning, hasn't it?
And how? I could just as well have taken the morning off and gone to the hairdresser.
Look out, driver.
What's the matter?
The car is starting us off the road.
Jim.
What's the idea? Can't you see where you're going?
Whew. Rather, for a minute there, I thought we were going to crack
So
up.
did I. Say, what are all those guys getting out of their cars?
I don't know.
Listen, you guys.
Shut up, you. Keep them covered, Shorty.
Okay.
Hey, look. They've got guns.
Good heavens.
Okay, kid, get out.
What?
You mean me?
Yeah, you. Come on out.
But
Get out. I said.
Stop it! Let him alone! Help!
Right down, lady, or you'll get it.
what do you
Let
want
him
from
alone!
me?
Lift up the count slip here on the pier.
What?
Okay, let's go, boys.
No, wait a minute.
What about this driver?
What?
Tap him on the noggin so he'll sleep for a while.
Hey, no.
Shouting wildly for help, Lois Lane sees the big sedan with Jimmy Olsen, the captive, inside, roar away. Why was Jimmy seized? Who are his captors? And what did they mean when they said somebody called the Count had slipped something to him on the pier? Could they mean the apparently worthless stones and glass in the oilskin package? There are thrills, mystery, and excitement ahead, fellows and girls. So don't fail to be with us tomorrow when we bring you Chapter 2 of The Secret of Meteor Island on The Adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC Comics magazine and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time. Watch for the Superman Adventure serial, soon to be shown at your local movie theater. This program came from New York. Stay tuned to your mutual station for Captain Midnight, which follows in just a moment. And right after Captain Midnight, you'll hear Tom Mix and his Ralston Straight Shooter. Art Van Horn speaking. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with amazing physical powers far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, wages a never-ending battle for truth and justice. Today, while Superman searches desperately for Jimmy Olsen, a man called the Count laughed at the impending fate of the young cub reporter.
I'd give a century note if I could see Nick Greaser's face when he finds out what happened, Harry.
Me too, Count. But what about that kid, Olsen, or whatever his name is? What'll be with him?
I can't answer that question, Harry, because I don't know what happens to a person after he stops living.
Gang, suppose you were walking down the street one day, loaded down with $1 you'd earned, and suddenly a stranger comes up to you and gives you the glad hand and makes a proposition. For $1, one small dollar, the 10th part of $10, he says, I'll sell you this beautiful box I have in my hand. You look and you see it's a big, interesting-looking box, and all nicely wrapped up in red, white, and blue trimmings. Only hitch is you can't see what's inside. Now, honestly, would you give that guy your hard-earned buck for a fancy package that contains you don't know what? Well, you'd need your head examined if you did. Because only a sucker would buy a package without opening it up and seeing what's inside first. Now, ideas are pretty much like packages. And people are always trying to sell you ideas, which all too often are wrapped up in such fancy trimmings that you can't see what you're buying. Also, more often than not, their favorite colors are red, white, and blue. Well, don't you be fooled, gang. Don't fall for this old dodge. Be smart enough to examine each idea for what it's worth. Inspect it carefully and evaluate it before you accept it. For you know that no matter how beautifully an idea is wrapped up in patriotic lingo, it isn't patriotic. It isn't American. If it's designed to make you think one man is better than another because of his race, religion, or where his people came from. It isn't American if you stop a man from speaking his mind just because you don't happen to agree with him. So always take a good look at the inside of an idea, boys and girls, and never mind the outside wrapping. See if what it really means is worth believing in. Then buy it.
And now, the adventures of Superman. In response to a frantic phone call from reporter Lois Lane, Clark Kent, who is Superman, streaks to a little drugstore in uptown Metropolis near the city docks. There he was stunned to hear Lois, white-faced and trembling, announce...
They took Jimmy away, Clark. They took him away.
Who took Jim away, Lois? What are you talking
Some
about?
men in a car. They had guns, and they crowded our taxi to the curb and pulled Jim out.
What?
Then they slugged our driver and forced Jim into their car, and they drove away with him.
Great Scott.
Clark, I'm so worried.
No, wait a minute, Lois. Don't go to pieces.
I'm frantic.
Who were these men? Why did they do it?
I don't know who they were, but I think they wanted that package that man gave to Jim on the pier.
What man gave Jim what package?
They looked to see if it was in his pocket, and then they... Oh, Clark.
Now, Lois, you've got to pull yourself together. I can't make head or tail of this.
All right.
Now, what's this package you're talking about?
Well, it was on the pier, after the Eastern Queen dock.
Yes?
I wasn't there at the moment, but Jim said that a strange man came up to him, pushed a little oilskin package into his hand, and told him to keep it for a while he made a phone call. He said it was very valuable.
Yes, then what?
Well, the man didn't come back, and Jim and I had to get back to the office, so we opened the package to see if we could find out to whom it belonged.
Go on. What was in it?
Just a lot of little stones and pieces of broken glass.
Stones? Broken glass?
That's right. I can't understand why those other men would want it enough to take Jimmy away.
Neither can I. Unless...
I've already called Inspector Henderson. He said he'd be right down, but he hasn't come yet.
Oh, don't worry, he'll be here. What about this car they took Jim away in? What kind was it?
It was a big blue sedan. I don't know what make. I tried to get the license number, but
Well, did you get it?
No.
Uh-oh.
There was mud smeared all over it. I think the first letter was N, but I'm not
Maybe
sure.
a taxi driver got a better look at it. Where's he?
He's upstairs in the doctor's office. He was hurt pretty badly. The doctor said he won't be able to answer any questions for a couple of hours.
See. Well, which way did the car go with Jim?
North, and then it swung east at the next corner.
All right, now listen, Lois. When Inspector Henderson gets here, tell him everything you've told me.
Yes?
Then call up Bruce Wayne and tell him, too.
Bruce Wayne? Why call that playboy?
Well, never mind. Just do as I say, please. And don't worry, we'll find Jim.
Oh, I hope so. Poor kid.
Oh, here come 2 police cars now. I'll see you later.
Wait a minute, Clark. Where are you going?
I'm going to look for Jim my way. So long. Out of Clark Kent's clothes, this is a job for Superman. Big blue sedan, Lois said. Turned east off the River Drive. Got to find it. There we are. Now, all set. Up, and away!
Leaping high into the midday sky, Superman begins his search for the blue sedan in which Jimmy Olsen was carried away. Far and wide, he ranges above the network of streets and roads below him crowded with traffic, his keen eyes probing every vehicle. Meanwhile, in a midtown hotel room, a thin, sharp-featured, dapperly dressed man wearing a carnation in his lapel waits impatiently with a companion whom he calls Harry.
What's keeping this fence, Harry?
He said he'd be here right away, Count.
Well, he'd better hurry. I've got to get out of Metropolis before Nick Greaser catches up with me.
Are you sure that was Greaser's mob you saw on the pier today?
Of course I am. It's a lucky thing I spotted them from the deck of the ship before I got off. It would have been too bad for me.
It sure would. Look, are you positive they fell for your dodge and went after the kid you slipped the phony package to?
Sure they did. They were watching me like vultures when I got off the ship. And I made sure they saw me slip the bundle to the kid.
Yeah, but...
They figured he was there to meet me and take the stuff from me just in case I was followed, don't you see?
Yeah, but you're not sure, Count. They might have trailed you here
They
and...
didn't, I tell you. I ducked into the crowd and they let me go. They figured the kid had the stuff, so they wanted him. I was watching from behind a stack of trunks, and when the kid got into a taxi with a girl he called Miss Lane, Grease's mob hopped into their car and followed them.
You're absolutely positive?
How many times do I have to tell you? They must have waited for the right spot and then grabbed the kid. I'd give a century note if I could see Nick Grease's face when he opens the package and sees the rocks and busted glass in it.
Me too. I gotta hand it to you, Count. You played it real smart.
Thank you, Harry.
But what do you suppose will happen to that kid?
What do you think?
Here's the package, Nick. The Olsen kid had it in his pocket.
Fine, Bronco, fine. This is what the Count slipped to the kid on the pier, huh?
That's it. All wrapped up nice, too.
Let's have a look. Tip I got says the Count was bringing in better than $1 million in diamonds.
$1 million?
That does it.
Let me see.
What the? What's this?
Hey, those ain't diamonds.
Just some dirty stones and busted glass. What gives you, Bronco?
I don't know, Nick.
Oh, you're kidding. You grabbed off the real stuff and slipped this junk in.
No, Nick, no.
Lord, I know you can't get away with that, Bronco. I'm
No,
gonna...
put the rod away, Nick. I didn't do it honest.
Come on. Cough up the Count's rocks, I'll blow your head
No,
off.
Nick, no, I tell you. This is the stuff we found on Olsen, so help me. I never opened the package. Ask the boys. Ask Olsen himself. I never double-crossed you, Nick. Never. You know that.
There's always a first time. And a last time, too.
I didn't, I tell you. Ask anybody. Listen, Nick, the Count must have done this himself. He must have slipped the kid a phony package, see? Then got away with the real stuff while we went after the kid. Get it? It's just like him to do that.
Could be. I'll find out. If he did, it'll be too bad for him and for the Olsen kid, too. Bring Olsen in here, Bronco. Hurry up.
We'll be back in a moment for the 10th climax of today's episode. So keep listening.
Fellows and girls, you've undoubtedly been asked many times by various people, what do you hope to be when you grow up? Well, have you given that much thought? Would you like to be a doctor, maybe, or a lawyer, or perhaps some of you would like to be teachers or actors, nurses, or engineers? I'd be willing to bet that a number of you hope to be big league baseball players or firemen or policemen. Well, whatever your ambition, whatever goal you strive to reach in your adult life, you must keep in mind that to fill any one of those jobs requires a good deal of know-how. And know-how requires much study and preparation for success in any chosen career. That, of course, is what our schools are for, to provide the know-how necessary for success in life. Now, there are some boys and girls who think they can fulfill their ambitions despite the fact that they play hooky from school, neglect their homework, disregard their parents and teachers, and run around with gangs that get into all kinds of trouble. They're the kind who are called juvenile delinquents, which is an adult phrase for youngsters who think it's smart to do things they know are wrong. Well, do you think General Eisenhower or Joe DiMaggio or any current American hero or heroine was so foolish when he or she was your age? You can bet anything they were not. Now then, I'm not here to lecture. I just mentioned these things as a friendly tip, so to speak, in an effort to remind you that if you really want to grow up to be successful and happy, keep your eye on your goal, and don't let anything steer you away from it.
And now, back to the adventures of Superman.
In a room in a basement flat in the tenement district of Metropolis, cub reporter Jimmy Olsen stands before Nick Greaser, a short, swarthy man almost as broad as he is tall, with a flattened nose, wide, flat lips, and the small, glittering eyes of an angry pig. The big man, called Bronco, stands beside Jimmy, his huge hand gripped in the reporter's coat collar.
Take a look at this junk, Olsen. Stones, hunks of busted glass. Is this what the Count slipped to you on a pier?
Who's the Count? And who are you? And what's the idea? Cut it out, you joke.
The white question answer, Nick.
But I...
Let him alone, Bronco. Now, talk up, Olsen. Is this what the Count gave you, or ain't it?
I don't know who the Count is,
He don't know who the Count is. Why, you...
Hey, don't let me go.
I said lay off him, Bronco.
Oh, okay.
Talk fast, Olsen, or you'll be awful sorry. Now, is this what the Count gave you?
Tell you, I don't know any Count.
No, huh?
But if you mean the man who gave me the package to hold on the pier while he went to telephone, this is what was in it.
It is, huh?
Didn't I tell you, Nick? You said I double-crossed you. Well, it was the Count put one over on us.
So that's the answer.
Look, what's this all about? What's the idea of holding me up and bringing me here? I'm a newspaper reporter, and you better...
Shut up! You want to count was smart, but not smart enough. We got you, see? And you're going to help us nail the Count and the diamonds. Where is he?
Who?
Oh, the Count, of course. Where is he hiding out?
How do I know? I don't know him. I don't. I never saw him before. Came up to me on the pier and asked me to mind the package while he made a phone call.
Let him go, Bronco.
He's lying, Nick.
Sure, he's lying, but you're wasting time. Let him go, I said.
I'm not lying. I never saw him before.
Look, Olson. You see this gun?
Yeah. What about it?
It's pointed right at you, see? And it goes off when I finish counting to 3. Unless you tell me where the Count is.
His eyes wide, Jimmy Olsen sees Nick Grease's stubby finger tighten around the trigger of the revolver and realizes there is no way for him to make Greaser believe he is not a confederate of the man called the Count. Superman and the police are searching desperately for Jimmy, but so far only the Count knows where he is. And the Count is perfectly content with the situation as it is. Don't miss tomorrow's exciting episode, fellows and girls. Tune in, same time, same station, for Chapter 3 of The Secret of Meteor Island on The Adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC Comics magazine and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time. Watch for the Superman Adventure serial, soon to be shown at your local movie theater. This program came from New York. Stay tuned to your mutual station for Captain Midnight, which follows in just a moment. Right after Captain Midnight, you'll hear Tom Mix and his Ralston Straight Shooters. Art Van Horn speaking. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with amazing physical powers far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, wages a never-ending battle for truth and justice. Today, a man named Nick Greaser points a revolver at cub reporter Jimmy Olsen and delivers an ultimatum.
I'm going to give you till I count 3 to tell me where the Count is, Olsen. If you don't tell me what I want to know, I'll pull the trigger.
But I don't know where he is.
1.
I never saw him before today.
2.
Listen. Please listen to me.
Well, gang, as you know, Tony Zale knocked out Rocky Graziano in the 3rd round of their bout last week, which is another way of saying that Tony Zale is middleweight champion of the world once again, after losing his championship to Rocky Graziano last year. At that time, Zale took such a beating that the referee had to stop the fight. But Tony Zale is a game fighter, and he came back to win again. What's more, although Zale is 34 years old, a pretty advanced age for a boxer, he proved his superiority to the younger Graziano in this fight. For Rocky is what we call a one-handed fighter. Zale, on the other hand, uses both fists, and uses them well. Then, too, Zale is a boxer as well as a puncher, while Graziano can only punch. Net result, Tony Zale is middleweight champion of the world. All of which proves that to be a winner, you must be a boxer as well as a hitter. Because when you're up against the rope, you may be able to punch your way out of it. But if you're a clever boxer, you'll never let yourself get in that spot to begin with. Now, sometimes people and nations, like prize fighters, get themselves in bad spots and have to punch their way out. Sometimes they win. Sometimes they lose. But smart people and smart nations know enough to avoid a slugfest whenever they can. They'd rather not take any chances of becoming punchy. They know that the one who uses his brains to look ahead can keep out of real trouble and never get his back against the ropes. And that's why the nations of the world have banded together in the United Nations, so that no people need ever fear an international KO.
And now, the adventures of Superman. When a man whom Jimmy Olsen had never seen before thrust a small oil
into the cub reporter's hands on the city pier and asked him to guard it while he made a telephone call, he deliberately involved the young cub reporter in a strange and perilous adventure. Because the mysterious man, known only as the Count, was using Jimmy to decoy a gang of criminals who knew that the Count had more than $1 million worth of diamonds in his possession. Believing the Count had slipped the diamonds to Jimmy, the gang seized the cub reporter and took him to their headquarters, a basement flat in the tenement district. But when Nick Greaser, their leader, opened the package which the Count had given to Jimmy, he found in it only stones and broken glass. Believing that Jimmy and the Count were Confederates, and that they had conspired to trick him, Greaser pointed a revolver at Jimmy and demanded that he reveal the Count's whereabouts. This is your last chance, Olson. Talk, or I'll shoot.
I told you the truth. But if you won't believe me, well, go ahead and shoot.
What are you waiting for, Nick? Let him have it.
Shut up, Bronco. You got nerve, Olson. I gotta hand it to you.
Thanks.
You got brains, too. You knew I wouldn't knock you off till I found out where the Count went with them diamonds, didn't you?
You mean you weren't going to shoot me?
Didn't I say you was smart? Figure it out.
I don't know what you mean. Listen, mister, I don't know what this is all about.
You don't know why you...
Lay off, Bronco. Look, Olson, I like guys who got nerve and who got brains, too, see? And I like you, even if you did put up this job on me with the Count.
But I didn't, I tell you.
Now, look, I wouldn't like for nothing to happen, see? I'd like for you to walk out of here nice and healthy. And I'd like for you to say, Nick Greasy's my pal.
You mean you're going to let me go?
Sure I am.
Well, gee, thanks.
As soon as you tell me where your pal, the Count is.
I don't know where he is.
Now, listen.
For the 50th time, I tell you, I never saw him before. He just came up to me on the pier and asked me to hold a package for him while he made a phone call.
How long you going to let this punk give us the runaround, Nick?
He's all done running us around, Bronco. I'm through fooling.
I'm not giving you any runaround. I told you the truth. I never saw that man before. I don't know anything about any diamonds. I'm a newspaper.
Shut up.
Why,
You think I was born yesterday? I'll give you a chance. I was even going to let you go as soon as we caught up with the Count. But you don't want it that way. You want it the hard way. Okay, so that's the way you're going to get it.
Now you're talking, Nick.
You'll talk, all right, before we get done with you. Only then you ain't going to be able to walk out of here. You'll have to be carried out. Okay, Bronco, take 'em out and go to work on 'em.
Oh, here you are, Clark. Where have you been?
Where do you suppose, Lois? Looking for Jim, of course.
Oh, well, did you...
I haven't been able to find a trace of him.
Oh, dear, the police haven't either. I just talked to Inspector Henderson.
Yeah, I know. I've just come from police headquarters. Please come into my office, Lois, will you? I want to talk to you.
Poor Jimmy. What are we going to do about him, Clark? I'm just crazy with worry.
Yeah, that doesn't help. Got to keep our heads. Now, tell me, did you call back... Did you call Bruce Wayne as I asked you to?
Yes, but that isn't going to help any either. What can that playboy do?
That playboy, as you call him, may be able to do a great deal.
Oh.
The case is right up his alley.
What do you mean?
Well, look, if I'm right, and I think I am, Jim was used as a decoy to draw an underworld gang away from someone who had to get away with something. Now, Bruce Wayne happens to know a great deal about the
Wait a
underworld.
minute. You said Jim was used as a decoy?
That's right.
Well, what do you mean?
Remember how some man came up to Jim on the pier and asked him to hold a little package for him while he made a telephone call?
Yes.
Well, I think that fellow was a smuggler who just stepped off the boat.
What?
He saw some men he didn't want to see, realized they were after whatever he had brought in, so he made a show of slipping a package to Jim.
Oh, dear.
See, he knew the men were watching him and would believe Jim now had the stuff, whatever it was, and would go after him. You get it?
Yes, but, well, there was nothing but a lot of worthless junk in that package.
I know.
Stones and broken glass.
Yes, but don't you see, that was our man's trick. He did that to make the fellows who were waiting for him think the real stuff, whatever it was in the package he gave Jim.
Oh, and while they went after Jim, the man who had slipped in the phony package escaped with the real thing.
Exactly. Of course, it's only a hunch, Lois, but I'm pretty sure it's a good one.
Well, but even if you're right, Clark, what are we going to do? We don't know who any of these men are or what they did with Jim.
Well, that's what I'm hoping Bruce Wayne can find out for us. You see, he and Rob... just a minute, that's my phone. Hello? Yes, this is Kent. Who's... Oh, hello, Batman.
Batman?
Listen, did you...
Batman?
What? You did? Well, sure, you bet I can. In 2 shakes. Just tell me where you are.
Where is it, Clark?
Just a second. The Blue Front Cafe? Sure, I know where that is. Right, I'll be there before you can say you know what. So long.
What did Batman want with you, Clark?
Said he has a clue that may lead us to Jim.
He has?
Uh-huh, and he wants me to
But
get
how
rid
did...
of...
How does Batman know about Jim?
Huh? Oh, that is strange, isn't it?
What?
Yeah, well, we'll figure that out some other time. I've got to meet him right away. I'll see you later, Lois.
Wait a minute, Clark. I'll go along.
No, not this time. Keep your fingers crossed. So long. Yeah, I can change in the storeroom. Good old Batman. I knew he and Robin had come through. Blue Front Cafe, he said. Well, I can be there in a jiffy as Superman. There we are, all set. Just raise this window. Now, up, and away! Oh, that's funny. It's the Blue Front Cafe, but I don't see Batman around. Or Robin either. I'll ask the cashier. Pardon me, I had an appointment to meet Batman here. Did you by any chance... Batman, my name is Clark...
Never heard of him.
But he distinctly said the Blue Front Cafe. I had the impression that he was calling from
Never
here.
heard of no Batman, I said.
But if you...
Step aside, mister, please. Don't you see the customer wants to pay his bill?
Puzzled, Clark Kent steps away from the cashier's cage and looks again over the restaurant, filled with unsavory-looking characters, obviously denizens of the underworld. What has happened to Batman? We'll be back in a moment for the startling climax of today's episode. So keep listening.
It was Silver Jubilee Day at the Yankee Stadium last Sunday, the 25th anniversary of the Ballpark of Champions. Dozens of old Yankees were on hand for the celebration, and 50,000 baseball fans poured their welcome to the veterans. But their greatest welcome for the man in the Yankee uniform, number 3. For that man was the one and only Babe Ruth, and he was back on his old stamping ground. Yes, gang, this was a very special occasion for the Bambino, who was wearing his old uniform, number 3. The same uniform he had worn in the good old days when his booming bat brought tears to pitchers and cheers from Yankee fans. And now old number 3 was being worn for the last time in the history of the game. It is being retired to baseball's Hall of Fame at Cooperstown, for it has become part of baseball history. Babe Ruth, fellas and girls, is a living symbol of greatness that comes of playing the game hard and clean, and every one of us should try to live up to the standards he set. People know that the Babe always went up to the plate with the spirit of may the best man win. And if he won, it was because he was best, not because he kept anyone out or refused to play against a dangerous opponent. Gang, let's keep that spirit always alive on our baseball diamonds and football fields and tennis courts, wherever they may be. Keep your competition clean. Don't let any barriers of race or religion squash good competition. Make sure that at the end of the game, you can truly say, the best man won.
And now, back to the adventures of Superman. Announcing that he had a clue to the missing Jimmy Olsen, the famous Batman phoned Clark Kent and asked him to meet him at the Blue Front Cafe, a restaurant frequented by members of the underworld. But when Kent arrived there, he could not find his friend. Now, as Kent stands at one side of the restaurant, an elderly stoop-shouldered waiter, shirt sleeves and soiled apron, emerges through the swing doors from the kitchen, a tray of food in his hands. As he approaches Kent, he pauses and speaks to him swiftly, furtively, hardly moving his lips.
Still looking for Batman?
Why, yes,
Shh, not so loud. What's your name?
Clark Kent.
Okay, now get this. Batman couldn't wait for you. Something happened.
What is it, man? What happened?
Don't talk. I think they're watching me. Who's watching? Sit down. Order something. I'll be back in a minute.
I don't like the sound of this.
Oh!
What the... Great Scott! The waiter! He's been shot!
Peering through the dimly lit, smoky atmosphere of the underworld cafe, Clark Kent perceives that the waiter who had just talked with him lies slumped on the floor, shot before he could reveal the message left by Batman. What has happened to Batman and Robin? And what can Superman do now to find Jimmy Olsen without a clue even to the whereabouts of his friends? There's a thrill a minute in tomorrow's exciting episode, gang, so don't miss it whatever you do. Yes, be sure to tune in again tomorrow, same time, same station, for Chapter 4 of The Secret of Meteor Island on The Adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC Comics magazine and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time. Watch for the Superman Adventure serial soon to be shown at your local movie theater. This program came from New York. Stay tuned to your mutual station for Captain Midnight, which follows in just a moment. And right after Captain Midnight, you'll hear Tom Mix and his Ralston Straight Shooters. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with amazing physical powers far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, wages a never-ending battle for truth and justice. Today, disguised as Clark Kent, Superman is about to receive important information from a waiter in a restaurant when there is a dramatic interruption.
Batman was supposed to meet me here, waiter. Do you know where he might have...
couldn't wait for you, Mr. Candy. Found out...
Oh, what? Where did Batman go?
Don't talk.
What's the matter?
I'm being watched.
Why?
You sit down at a table like you just came in for something to eat.
No, wait a minute.
I'll be right back.
Wait. Dickens is eating him. Funny. I don't like this, but I guess I'll have to... What the... Great Scott! That waiter that just spoke to me! He's been shot!
June is busting out all over. Yes, boys and girls, the Goonie season is here. Most everybody forgives wacky doings, absent-mindedness, and acute lazitis when spring fever strikes. Wherever you look, grown-ups and kids alike are suffering from severe attacks of June. And they're easy to spot, too. For instance, here are some of the symptoms of spring fever. There's a heaviness of the hands that makes it virtually impossible to open a school book after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. There's a sudden crick in the neck that makes it necessary to turn the head only toward the window when in school. Naturally, once having taken that position, the afflicted one gazes out of the aforementioned window, thus considerably irritating the teacher, who would like all attention directed at her. But naturally, the crick in the neck prevents this. Then there's a great deal of stiffness in the joints. And to treat this, most boys and girls run around a diamond, referred to in medical journals as rounding the bases. This is found to be most helpful. And finally, spring fever brings along with it a feeling of good-natured friendliness toward everybody. Yes, even toward the character who lives down the block. And in this season, we feel particularly sorry for those people who aren't friendly, who hate without rhyme or reason, or who are scornful of others because of their race or religion. Because these people are missing out on the wonders of June. They're missing out on the pleasures of spring fever. Why? Because they haven't the nature to appreciate them. So sniff that sweet air and pass that baseball, brother. Summer is here.
And now, the adventures of Superman. When a clever underworld character known as the Count disembarked from a ship in Metropolis with a fortune in diamonds hidden on his person, he saw several gangsters waiting on the pier. Realizing they intended to relieve him of his diamonds, the Count made up a dummy package and thrust it into the hands of cub reporter Jimmy Olsen, who was at the pier to cover newspaper stories. Believing the dummy package contained the diamonds, the gangsters seized Jimmy and took him to their headquarters. But when their leader, Nick Greaser, discovered that the package contained only stones and broken glass, he flew into a rage and accused Jimmy of conspiring with the Count to trick him. And he demanded that Jimmy tell him where the Count was or die. Meanwhile, another startling development occurred at the Blue Front Cafe, a hangout of the underworld. A police ambulance has just pulled away from the crowded curb, and Clark Kent, who is Superman, has directed a taxi driver to follow the ambulance. But as Kent steps into the cab, Lois Lane, reporter for the Daily Planet, leaps in after him and slams the door.
Hey, wait a minute. This cab is... What the... Lois!
Hello, Clark.
Where did you come from?
The office. I followed you here.
You followed me?
Why, yes. What's so shocking about that?
Well, how could you?
Well, easy. I heard you say you were going to meet Batman at the Blue Front Cafe, so I grabbed a cab and rushed out here.
Oh, I see.
Tell me what happened, Clark. Where's Batman?
Oh, brother, I wish I knew.
What? I thought he told you to meet him at the cafe.
He did.
Said he found out something about Jim.
That's right. That's what he said. When I got there, Batman was gone.
Gone?
Yeah.
Good heavens, where'd he go?
Told you, I don't know. A waiter heard me inquiring for him and took me off to one side.
Yes.
Tried to tell me something. Apparently, Batman had left a message with him for me.
Oh, well, what was
Wait a minute. I'll tell you. Before the waiter could tell me what Batman had said, he was shot.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Who shot him?
I didn't see who did it. Poor fellow Eddie, his name is. That's the waiter. Is in that police ambulance just ahead.
Good heavens, is he...
No. He's alive, all right. Nearly as I could make out, he wasn't too seriously injured.
Oh, good. Then he can talk.
Well, not at the moment. He's unconscious. I'm just hoping he'll be able to talk soon and tell me where Batman and Jim are.
Oh, if only he can.
Well, we'll find out right away, Lois. Just as soon as we get to the hospital. How is he, Doctor?
He'll be all right, Mr. Kent. The wound isn't serious.
Oh, that's fine.
Wonderful. Can we talk to him now?
No, I'm afraid not, Miss Lang.
But you said the wound wasn't serious.
It isn't, but the patient is an elderly man. Oh, and he's suffering from shock.
Oh, yes, of course. Well, then, when will we be able to see him, Doctor?
Yes, Doctor. It's terribly important.
Well, perhaps in an hour or so. I'll let you know.
Thank you
Doctor.
very much, Doctor.
Thank you.
As Clark Kent and Lois Lane wait anxiously in the hospital to question the injured waiter, Jimmy Olsen, his freckled face bruised, his hair and collar disarranged, is held in the brutal grip of Bronco, a vicious thug, who pushes him into the basement room where the chunky, swarthy Nick Greaser waits, a scowl on his dark face.
Get in there,
Take your hands off me, you big
Now,
bully.
what?
You'll pay for this. And so will you, mister.
Shut up.
Well, Bronco, did he tell you where the count is?
No, Nick.
Then what did you bring him in here for?
Nick, look.
Take him back and work on him some more. Till he talks.
But, Nick, look.
Shut up, Bronco. Gotta find the count before he unloads them diamonds. This kid can tell us where he is. Now go on. Work him over again, and don't bring him back until he talks.
But I can't tell you anything about that man. I tell you, I never saw him before. Honest, I didn't.
You're lying. You do know the count. You're one of his mobs.
No. I swear that's not true.
Nick, I kind of think he's telling the truth.
Who asked you? I do the thinking around here, and I say he knows where the count is. Now take him back and get it out of him. And I don't care how you do it, but make it fast.
Okay, Nick. You're the boss. Come on, kid.
No, wait.
Come on.
Let go of me, will you?
Wait, Bronco. See who that is.
Okay, Nick. You stay where you are, Olsen. Who is it?
Wait, Danny. Hurry up, let me in.
What's up, Danny?
Where's Nick? Hey, Nick.
What's up, Danny?
Batman and Robin just blocked up the street.
Batman and Robin?
Doc.
They jumped out of their car and started back this way.
Oh.
Creepers. Them guys are poison.
Yeah, you
Coming
said it.
for me. Now you guys will get it.
Shut up, Olsen. Danny, shove this kid in the back room and keep him there. You understand?
Yeah, sure. All right, come on, punk. Move, I said.
Have you got your gun, Bronco?
Yeah, sure, Nick.
Stand by the door. If Batman and Robin come in here, let them have it.
They're bad medicine. The boys are upstairs. Maybe
I'm going to
we-
call them. Watch the door now.
Yeah, okay. Hurry up, Nick.
Take it easy. Send the boys down here, Sally. Batman and Robin are on their way.
Up and at him, Nick, over the window.
Get him, Bronco!
Take the big fellow, Robin. You get three.
Okay, Robbie. What's the word, you crazy?
Crashing into the basement room like angered tigers, Batman and Robin close with Nick Greaser and the burly Bronco, as Danny, the third gangster, comes charging in from the rear with gun drawn. We'll be back in a moment for the exciting climax of today's episode, so keep listening.
You know, gang, that in professional baseball, only 6 players have ever hit 50 or more home runs in one season since 1901? Well, it's true. Babe Ruth made baseball history with the Yankees when he went over the 50 mark in 1920, 21, 27, and 28. Hack Wilson of the Cubs made the grade in 1930. Jimmy Fox of the A's knocked him over the fences in 1932. And Hank Greenberg knocked the stuffing out of the old apple in 1938. Ralph Kiner of the Pirates and Johnny Mize of the Giants each hit the record last year. Now, these 6 home run kings are the heavy-hitting greats of all time. They've walloped their way right into baseball's record book, a challenge to future players. Something for tomorrow's kings of SWAT to aim for. Why, some of you fellows who are practicing on the sandlots today will be the big league greats of tomorrow. Yes, maybe the day will come when you'll bat your 50th home run and land right up there along with the 6 other home run kings. Maybe baseball fame is in the books for the boy down the block.
Or for the kid who just tried out for first base position on your team? You know him well. Well, nobody can tell who the lucky guy will be. Nobody at all. But one thing is sure. He won't be tomorrow's home run king because of where his people came from, or the way he worships God, or what his name sounds like. No, sir. It's the muscular steel behind his booming bat that'll hold the answer. Power, steady nerves, coordination, good timing, and a fighting heart. Those are the things that make the great athlete and home run king. Who knows? Maybe that'll be you. So keep on punching, fella. Learn to play that game, and always give your best.
And now, back to the adventures of Superman.
Diving through the window into Nick Grease's basement headquarters, where Jimmy Olsen is being held a prisoner, Batman and Robin pounce on Grease and his burly follower, Bronco.
Yeah, this will take care of you, big boy. Pleasant dreams. I'll give you a hand with Greasy, Robin.
Don't bother, Batman. This goose is...
Nice going, Robin. Now look out behind you.
Oh, another lad with a gun, huh?
I had him. Take this, sweetheart. Well, Robin, that's that.
Yeah. Hey, listen. Sounds like reinforcements coming.
Yes, we better pick up Jim Olsen and scram.
Here I am, Batman.
Jim.
Boy, you sure wiped up the floor with these rats. Hey,
No
listen.
time for chit-chat now, Jim. We've got to get out of here. Come on, fellas. We'll go out the back door.
Come on, Jim. Okay, Robin.
This way, Jim. Robin, there's the back door.
And just in time, there's a whole army behind us.
Here, I'll open it.
What's the matter, Batman? The door open.
I can't. It's locked and there's no key.
Christopher Columbus. And it's a steel door.
No windows back here, Abe.
Thinking this. We're trapped.
Their escape blocked. The dynamic duo of Batman and Robin and Jimmy Olsen can only stand by helplessly as Nick Grease's armed mobsters bear down on them. Unarmed, heavily outnumbered, this looks like a hopeless position for even Batman and Robin, as Superman, waiting at the hospital, is still unaware of his friend's predicament. What will happen? There's excitement and many more thrills in tomorrow's smashing episode, fellows and girls, so be sure to listen. Tune in, same time, same station, for Chapter 5 of The Secret of Meteor Island on The Adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC Comics magazine and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time. Watch for the Superman Adventure serial, soon to be shown at your local movie theater. This program came from New York. Stay tuned to your mutual station for Captain Midnight, which follows in just a moment. And right after Captain Midnight, you'll hear Tom Mix and his Ralston straight shooter. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with amazing physical powers far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, wages a never-ending battle for truth and justice. Today, Superman is unaware that, trapped in Nick Grease's basement headquarters, his friends Batman, Robin, and cub reporter Jimmy Olsen are in peril of their lives.
Come on, Batman! Oh, blast you!
I think he means business, Batman.
You bet he does, Robin, and he's got a dozen gorillas with guns to back him up.
Oh, gosh, what'll we do?
Let's face it, Jim. Unless a miracle occurs in the next few seconds, we're done for.
322 years ago, gang, a fellow named Peter Minuit was doing some trading with the American Indians. He was swapping beads for corn and money for blankets when the Indians, a little short on cash, offered to throw in an island of theirs called Manhattan into the deal in return for $24. Peter Minuit consulted with his friends to make sure he wasn't overpaying and finally agreed to buy Manhattan. But he never dreamed that the pretty little island would someday grow into one of the greatest cities in the world, with monumental skyscrapers, subways, and stores, and that the empty fields would one day house millions of people and become headquarters for the United Nations. How could he know that what he had bought for $24 would develop into the tremendous metropolis of New York City, and that it would be the result of many people working side by side, all kinds of people? Yes, New York City as we know it today is the result of the work of the Dutch who first settled here, of the English and French who came not much later, of the Protestants, Catholics, and Jews who had fled to the New World to escape religious persecution. It was the work of the American Negroes who came in slavery but remained to build freedom. Italians, Hungarians, Swedes, Irish, Russians, Slovaks, Chinese. Millions and millions of people from the four corners of the world, of all colors and religions and nationalities, who came to Peter Minuit's little island. They came in their labor, their ideas, and their devotion. And they created a miracle. Yes, gang, all these people working together transformed a grassy little island into New York City, capital of the world.
And now, the adventures of Superman. When an underworld character known as the Count thrust a small package into cub reporter Jimmy Olsen's hands on the city pier and then disappeared, he placed Jimmy in great danger because gangsters who knew that the Count was carrying a fortune in diamonds thought he had slipped them to Jimmy. Seizing the young reporter, they took him to Nick Greaser, their leader, who discovered, to his dismay, that the package in Jimmy's possession contained only stones and broken glass. Then, convinced that Jimmy had conspired with the Count to trick him, Greaser threatened the young reporter with death unless he revealed the Count's hideout. The opportune arrival of Batman and Robin saved Jimmy momentarily. But then several more of Greaser's armed men poured into the basement headquarters. And when our three friends attempted to retreat through the rear door, they found it locked. As we continue now, Batman, Robin, and Jimmy are barricaded behind the braced door of a small windowless room in the rear of Greaser's basement flat, temporarily out of reach of the gangsters, who have ordered them to come out or suffer the consequences.
Got any bright ideas for getting out of this, Batman?
I'm fresh out of ideas, Robin. I was counting on Superman getting here, but...
Superman?
Yes, Jim. I left word for him with Eddie the waiter at the Blue Front Cafe, who was to tell him where we were. But something must have gone wrong.
Gee whiz.
Oh, brother, how we could use that big boy now.
And how?
Look, Batman, how many gorillas has Greaser got out there, would you say?
Baker's dozen at least, Robin.
Gosh, that wouldn't be too many for us to handle, if they didn't have guns.
Yeah, if.
Stop dreaming, sonny boy. Stop dreaming.
We're giving you 30 seconds to open the door and play nice, Batman. Do like we say, nothing will happen to you and Robin.
Says you.
We just won't.
Try and get him.
Come on, think it over. Just have a minute more. We come in and get you.
Look, Batman, I'm going to open the door.
You are
No,
like
you're
one.
not, Jim.
Don't be foolish. Nick's only after me because he thinks I can tell him where the Count is. He'll let you two go.
Are you kidding?
First, we're not handing you over without a fight, Jim.
But look...
Second, he won't let Robin and me off, because we can testify that he abducted you. And abduction is punishable by death in this state.
Sure, we're all in this leaky boat together, Jim.
Time's up, Batman. You gonna come out?
Not a chance.
You want us? Come and get it.
Okay, you asked for it. Come on, boys. Let the door down. Come on.
Jeepers. That door won't last long.
Yeah, look at it bend.
Things are going to get hectic right soon now. Jim, you stay behind us, Robin and me.
Nothing doing. I'll fight right up here with you.
Don't argue, Jim. Do as Batman says.
Watch it, Robin. Here goes the door.
Let her go. I'm ready.
This may be our last scrap, sonny boy, so let's make it good.
Count on me, Jim.
That's it, boys. Who in?
Let's go, Robin.
Right with you, Pappy. Come on, get him.
Sweetheart. All right, Jim, let me take over, Batman. Superman, glory be on you.
Wow, look at him mow them. Look, 14 tough guys, all yellow to the core.
Laid out unconscious on Nick Greaser's floor.
We'd be knocked out for good if not for you, Superman.
And how? Thanks, Superman.
Yeah, thanks a million.
Oh, forget it, fellas. It was a pleasure.
I'll call Inspector Henderson and have him send a wagon for Greaser and his sleeping beauty.
Incidentally, what delayed you, chum? Didn't Eddie, the waiter at the Blue Front Cafe, give you my message?
Yes, just a few minutes ago, Batman.
A few minutes ago?
Mm-hmm.
You were due at the Blue Front Cafe a couple of hours ago.
Sure, and I was there, all right, but so was somebody else.
What do you mean?
Well, apparently somebody found out that Eddie was passing underworld information to you, so...
Oh,
Hello?
I get it.
This is Superman. Connect me with Inspector Henderson, please.
What happened, Eddie, Superman?
Just before Eddie could tell me where you fellas were, he was shot.
Shot?
No. Fortunately, he wasn't seriously wounded, but he had to be taken to the hospital. Wasn't able to talk until just a few minutes ago.
Oh, I see, but...
Oh, wait a minute, Batman. Hello, Inspector. Yes, Jim's all right. Nick Greaser and his playmates are feeling no pain, though, so if you'll send a wagon down to 1059 Morton Street, it's on the way. How did you know? Oh, Miss Lane called you from the hospital, I see. Well, listen, all you have to do now is find the fellow with the diamonds, the one they call Count. Your case will be... What's that? You've got him.
The Count?
The Count? Is that so? I see. Yeah, sure, Batman, I'll hop over there at once. Right. We'll meet you there. So long.
What is it, Superman?
Yeah, what gives?
Henderson says that Captain Donovan of the Detective Bureau has trailed the Count to room 633 at the downtown hotel.
Oh, boy, swell.
Wonderful. Well, what are you looking so worried about, Superman?
Well, Henderson said he just had a phone call from Donovan, who's in the Count's room at the hotel. Something very strange is happening there, which he wants... Oh, wait a minute. Here come the police now. Jim, you and Robin go back to headquarters with them. Come on, Batman. You and I have to get over to the downtown hotel as fast as I can fly. Yeah, this is room 621, Batman. The Count's room is up the hall.
Hey, look, Superman, we came here so fast, you didn't get a chance to finish telling me what Inspector Henderson told you.
Oh, yes. So he said Donovan sounded very peculiar on the phone.
Peculiar?
Yeah. Henderson could hardly make out what he was saying. Donovan kept urging him to get there in a hurry, saying it was unbelievable, fantastic.
What's unbelievable and fantastic?
Well, the inspector couldn't make it out. But he gathered that Donovan was in some strange and unusual trouble.
I don't get it.
Neither do I, but we'll find out in a moment. Room 632, 633. Here we are. This is the Count's room.
You're all not.
What?
Matter.
Great Scott.
What's up?
You'll see in a moment. Now, look, Batman.
Great Lucifer!
Bursting into the Count's hotel room behind Superman, Batman gasps at what he sees. What is it? We'll be back in a moment to find out, so keep listening.
Hurry, hurry, hurry. It's the fanciest, swankiest, wackiest celebration ever seen. It's got parades and floats and costumes and music. It's New York City's 50th anniversary. Yes, gang, it's been 50 short years since Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, Richmond, and the Bronx decided to tie the knot and become one happy family, known as the 5 boroughs of New York City. And so the citizens of Old Gotham are really whooping it up. Since New York is really such a fabulous place, we thought you'd like to know some odd facts about this capital of the world. So hold on to your hats, and here goes. Did you know that there are almost 8 million people living in the city of New York? That more of them live in Brooklyn than any other borough? That there are enough streets in New York to stretch to Los Angeles and back? Did you know that the busiest corner in the world is at 34th Street and Broadway near Macy's? 350,000 New Yorkers mill around that corner every day. Quite a crowd, eh? And did you know that 60, that's 60, we said 60 nationalities, are represented among the 8 million people who live in this fabulous city? They have made America their nation and New York their home. Why, more Irish live in New York than any other city in the world except Dublin. And New York is the largest Italian city outside of Italy. It's the largest Jewish city in the world, and its Harlem section is the greatest Negro metropolis anywhere. And there are thousands of Germans and French and Poles and Catholics and Protestants and people of every conceivable national, religious, and racial background, all living in this giant city, all known by the same name, New Yorkers. They built this city and made it great. It was their brains, their sweat, their hopes and ideals that made New York what it is, the capital of the world. And now, back to the adventures of Superman.
In room 633 of the downtown hotel, which has been occupied by the mysterious man of the fabulous diamond known as the Count, Superman and Batman are kneeling beside the tall, heavy-set figure of a ruddy-faced, middle-aged man who lies on the floor, his eyes closed.
Great Lucifer, Superman. It's Captain Donovan.
That's right, Batman.
Feel his heart, is he?
Oh, he's alive, all right. Heartbeat is good and strong, but
Oh, thank heaven.
no sign of injury on his body.
Can't understand what happened to him.
Oh, that's easy. This is the Count's room, but the Count isn't here, which means he managed to knock out Donovan and get away.
Oh, I doubt it. Donovan is big, tough, and experienced, and he walked in here with his eyes open. I can't imagine any crook knocking him out and getting away.
Well, those things do happen, and...
Besides, there's no lump on his head or bruise or anything. Uh-oh.
What's the matter?
Look. Look at his forehead.
What about
Here,
it?
wait a minute. I'll brush his hair away. There. Now, see it?
Yeah. A round orange mark about the size of a quarter.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't look like a bruise.
No, it isn't a bruise.
What is it, then?
I don't know. But something strange did go on here, Batman. Something very strange that I don't understand.
Perplexed, Superman and Batman stare down at the round orange mark about the size of a quarter on the forehead of the unconscious detective captain. How did it get there? And what does it mean? What was the unbelievable, fantastic development that Captain Donovan tried to tell Inspector Henderson about on the phone? Something bizarre and uncommon which Superman senses but cannot identify. Our story has taken a strange new twist, fellows and girls. There's much more excitement and baffling mystery ahead, so be sure to tune in Monday, same time, same station, for Chapter 6 of The Secret of Meteor Island on The Adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in the DC Superman comic magazine and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time. Watch for the Superman Adventure serial soon to be shown at your local movie theater. This program came from New York. Stay tuned to your mutual station for Captain Midnight, which follows in just a moment. And right after Captain Midnight, you'll hear Tom Mix and his Ralston Straight Shooter. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with amazing physical powers far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, wages a never-ending battle for truth and justice. Today, Superman and his friend, the famous Batman, find Captain Donovan of the Detective Bureau unconscious in a hotel room with a strange mark on his forehead.
See that mark on his forehead, Batman?
Yeah. Round orange spot about the size of a quarter. It doesn't look like a bruise, Superman.
It isn't a bruise.
What is it, then?
I don't know, but it indicates that something strange went on here, Batman. Something very strange that I don't understand.
The other day, I had a dream to end all dreams. In my dream, I saw a famous columnist named Sidney Sniggelgrass, Jr., who was rubbing a magic lamp. And as he rubbed that lamp, a gigantic genie suddenly appeared in a puff of smoke. "What is thy wish, master?" the turbaned genie asked. And Sniggelgrass answered, "It is my wish that all people who come to America from foreign countries, or whose parents or grandparents or great-grandparents came from foreign countries, be exiled to some distant spot. Either that or send them back where they came from." And the genie said, "I can grant that wish, master, but there is a law in my land which says that whosoever is sent away from his country and is exiled shall be allowed to take with him whatever he has created. That is, I think, a just law, and if you abide by it, I can grant your desire." "That's okay with me," Sniggelgrass said. "Whatever they'll take with them will be good riddance." And the genie said, "So be it, master." Then a miracle happened. That very instant, a fast fleet of boats and barges and ships sprung up from all over, and into them flocked millions and millions of Americans of foreign ancestry. And then they took with them what they had created in America. And Sniggelgrass, watching with glee, suddenly felt his blood run cold, for a terrible sight greeted his eyes. A little later, I'll tell you what it was, so just keep listening.
And now, The Adventures of Superman. A mysterious man known to the underworld as the Count cleverly used cub reporter Jimmy Olsen as a decoy and escaped from gangsters with a fortune in diamonds. But his ruse almost cost the lives of Jimmy and the famous Batman and Robin. Superman rescued his three friends and was then told by Police Inspector Henderson to meet him at the downtown hotel where Captain Donovan of the Detective Bureau had trailed the Count. Arriving at the hotel before Henderson, Superman and Batman entered the Count's room, where they found only Captain Donovan, unconscious on the floor. On his forehead was a strange, round, orange mark, about the size of a quarter.
What do you make of this, Superman?
I don't know, Batman, but...
Uh-oh. What's the matter?
I've got to get back into Clark Kent's clothes. Inspector Henderson just got out of the elevator.
How do you know? Oh, your X-ray vision, eh?
Right. Henderson knows me very well as Kent, so I don't want him to see too much of me as Superman. He might suspect my double identity.
Oh, well, hurry up. I hear his footsteps.
Jumping to hospital. What happened to Donovan?
I don't know, Inspector. Kent and I just found him like this.
Hey. What's this orange mark on his forehead? Well, Batman and I were wondering about that, Inspector. I think
Never mind your theories now, Kent. Somebody call the hotel desk right away and see if there's a doctor around.
Okay, I'll do it.
Oh, Donovan's coming around, Inspector.
Yeah. Never mind the doctor, Batman. Get some water.
Right.
Henderson. Call Inspector Henderson.
I'm right here, Donovan.
Hurry up with that water, please.
Right up.
How long have you and Batman been here, Kent?
Not more than 5 minutes.
The diamond. Keep away.
What's that, Donovan?
Said something about diamonds and keep away.
Here's water, Inspector.
Oh, thanks. Here, Donovan. Drink this.
What have you been mumbling, Clark? Something about diamonds.
You feel better now?
I guess so. Oh, Inspector, I wanted to...
Easy, boy, easy. Here, give me a hand with him, Batman.
All right.
You sit him in that chair.
Right. I got him.
All right, up with him. Easy, boy. There. How's it now, Donovan?
A little better.
Good. Now tell me...
The Count, he got away. Put out an alarm for him.
Relax. I've already done that. Now tell me what happened here, Donovan.
Did the Count slug you?
No.
You were right, Clark.
He didn't touch me.
Then how did he get away and what happened to you?
I don't know, Inspector.
You don't know?
Well, I do and I don't, but I can't make any sense out of it.
Now, look here, Donovan. Start from the beginning.
Yes, but I warn you, Inspector, you won't believe it.
Well, we'll see. Just start talking.
All right. But I didn't have too much trouble locating our man after Miss Lane of the Daily Planet remembered that the mobsters who grabbed Jim Olsen had mentioned somebody named the Count.
So you traced him here to the downtown hotel, huh?
Yes.
All right. Now, go on from there, Donovan.
Well, I came up here with Sam Nichols of my staff.
Yeah?
When we got off the elevator, we saw somebody come out of a room up the hall. From this room it was. He started toward us, and then he saw who we were, and he ducked down the stairs.
Who was it?
Joe Critcham.
What? That crooked jewel fence?
Yes, Inspector.
Well, I'll be a monkey.
So I told Nichols to go after Critcham, and I walked over here, and I rapped on the Count's door. He was playing coy, but when I told him who I was, he opened the door right away, and I went in with my gun in my hand. He was all alone, dressed fit to kill. Same old phony English accent. Cool as a...
Well, this is my old friend, Captain Donovan.
That's right, Count.
Hi, old chap. Long time no see.
No, not since the last time I put you on the train to the big house, 3 years ago.
Now, old boy, must we recall that sordid event?
No, all you have to recall is what you smuggled in on the Eastern Queen yesterday, and get it up.
Look here, there must be some mistake, Captain. I don't know what you're talking about.
Now, look, Count, let's not waste time. I know those mobsters weren't waiting for you on the pier yesterday to relieve you of your toothbrush. And they weren't after the package of broken glass that you slipped to Jim Olsen either.
I don't follow you at all, old man.
No, well, let me refresh your memory. You know those mobsters followed Olsen and grabbed him just like you figured they would, while you got away with whatever they really wanted. I want to know who they were so I can find Olsen. And I also want the stuffed jewels, probably, if I know you, that you smuggled in on the Eastern Queen.
But I didn't smuggle in anything. And I know nothing of mobsters or of this chap Jim Olsen or anything else you're talking about. I tell you, you've made a mistake, Captain.
Okay, Count, have it your way, but it's going to go harder on you. Now, you just sit down in that chair and don't move when I go over this.
What happened then, Donovan?
Well, I went over this room, Inspector, and I finally found what I wanted in the bathroom.
Oh?
It was in the water tank.
What was it?
A lumpy package about 10 inches long, Kent.
What?
It was wrapped in a kind of oilskin, and yet it wasn't really oilskin. It was metallic.
Never mind that detail. What was in it?
Diamonds, Inspector.
Diamonds?
They're the biggest diamonds I ever saw, about a dozen of them.
What?
So help me, they were as big as hen's eggs. And though they hadn't been polished much, they were still so brilliant they almost blinded me. Or the light deep inside them did.
Light?
Yes, there was a kind of change in blue and purple and red light. Huh. I know quite a bit about diamonds. I never saw any like these before. And there was something like stone or iron clinging to them.
Stone or iron?
That's right, Kent. But listen to the rest of it. That's what really gets me. I started back into the room here with the diamond. The Count was sitting in that chair. He started laughing.
found them, eh, Captain?
Sure, you should have known that I would, Count. Where in thunder...
What's the matter, Captain?
I don't know. I feel... Stay in that chair, Count.
I certainly will. For the time being.
Something's wrong. I'm gonna call headquarters. Don't move, Count. I've got my gun on you.
Don't worry, Donovan.
Great. I just managed to reach the phone and call you, Inspector.
I think.
When I hung up, I couldn't even sit in the chair anymore. I was that weak.
Scott.
I just toppled over on the floor, and I couldn't even close my fingers on my gun when the Count came across the room, rolled up the bundle of diamonds fast with his foot, snapped some rubber bands around it, and put it in his pocket.
And then he walked out, huh?
Yes, sir.
And you passed out.
Yeah, I must have. I don't remember any more till I came to just now.
Hey, I don't get this.
No, neither do I. What do you make of it, Clark?
Got me baffled.
Captain Donovan, you sure the Count didn't touch you?
I'm absolutely positive.
Well, all I can figure then is that those strange diamonds had something to do with the captain's spell.
The diamonds?
How could they have anything to do with it, Jen?
I don't know, Inspector, but they must have had some...
Inspector,
Yeah, what's the matter, Donovan?
Passing out again.
Weak.
Grab him, Clark. I got him.
Donovan. Donovan! Lacey's out cold. Say, what's going on here?
Clark. Inspector, look.
Well, what is it?
That round orange mark on Donovan's forehead.
Great Scott.
It's grown as big as $50.
Their eyes wide, Clark Kent, Batman, and Inspector Henderson stared down at the unconscious detective captain and at the strange orange disc-like mark on his forehead, which now has grown to almost twice its original size. We'll be back in a moment for another startling development, so keep listening.
Say, gang, you'll remember that in my dream, Sidney Sniggelgrass Jr. rubbed his magic lamp and asked the genie to deport all Americans of foreign ancestry. The genie had agreed, but only on the condition that all those people be permitted to take with them what they had created right here in America. And so vast fleets of boats and barges sprang up, and millions of Americans marched on board. And then Sniggelgrass became petrified with horror, for these millions and millions of people who were taking with them what they had created in America were taking almost everything. They were taking the highways. They were taking the highways and the farms that had been hewed out of the wilderness by Irish, Slavs, and Swedes, and the many millions of farms made fertile by the Germans and the Dutch. They were loading the billions of garments woven by the Jews and Italians, and whole cities of skyscrapers and subways were going up that gangplank. For these were the things created by the toil of the millions whose ancestors had all been foreigners, who had come from the four corners of the world when the call had gone out that America needed immigrants to make America great. And the whistles blew and the boats sailed away. And then there was a great and strange silence. And in that silence, nothing could be heard, nothing but the frightening whimpering of Sidney Sniggelgrass Jr., who, gazing over the barren landscapes with no highways and cities to be seen, cried, "Genie, genie," but there was no answer, for the genie was a foreigner also.
And now, back to the adventures of Superman. Captain Donovan of the Metropolis Detective Bureau has just lost consciousness again, and Clark Kent and Batman are placing him on the couch as Inspector Henderson leaps to the telephone, which rings before he can pick it up.
Hang up, please, whoever you are. This is Police Inspector Henderson, and there's a... What? Oh, Healy, yeah. Listen. What? What's that? Say that again. What is it? Well, look. I can't believe it. Look, Healy, get over here at once with an ambulance. Right. Yeah, I'll look into it. So long.
What happened, Inspector?
Yeah, you're white as a sheet. Listen to this. 3 people have just been reported mysteriously stricken unconscious. And each one of them has a round orange spot on his forehead, just like Donovan's.
3 more people, 3 and Captain Donovan, unconscious, with strange orange marks on their foreheads. No wonder Clark Kent, Batman, and Inspector Henderson stand as if stunned, trying to understand this amazing occurrence. What does it mean? Kent, groping for an answer, suggested that the Count's smuggled diamonds might be responsible. But how could that be? And what will happen next? A lot more happens in tomorrow's exciting episode, gang, so don't fail to listen. Be sure to tune in again tomorrow, same time, same station, for Chapter 7 of The Secret of Meteor Island on The Adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC Comics magazine that is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time. Watch for the Superman Adventure serial soon to be shown at your local movie theater. This program came from New York. Stay tuned to your Mutual station for Adventure Parade, which follows in just a moment. And right after Adventure Parade, you'll hear Tom Mix and his Ralston Straight Shooters. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with amazing physical powers far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, wages a never-ending battle for truth and justice. Today, after Captain Donovan of the Metropolis Detective Bureau has been found unconscious with a strange orange mark on his forehead, Inspector Henderson relays further amazing information to Clark Kent, who is Superman.
This is screwy, Kent. Absolutely screwy. What now, Inspector? We've just had a report that 3 more people have been found unconscious. And get this. Yes? Each one of them has a round orange mark on his forehead, just like Captain Donovan.
You know, boys and girls, the other day I dropped into a movie and saw a newsreel shot of warships on maneuvers, laying down a smoke screen. They were steaming along in a column, just as pretty as you please, when all of a sudden their smokestack started spouting billows of thick black smoke. And before you knew it, they turned into that screen and disappeared completely from view. Being out of sight made them all the more dangerous and harder to find. While I was watching that, I suddenly had a thought. And it occurred to me that we've really got to be on the lookout for any enemy that fights us from behind a smoke screen. Like, for instance, the smoke screen of prejudice, which binds us so we can't tell friend from foe. So when you hear somebody tell you that one person is better than another just because of his race or religion or where his family came from originally, watch out. That's part of the smoke screen of prejudice. A smoke screen manufactured out of lies, deliberately designed to confuse and divide us. Now, gang, during the war, our Navy found a method for fighting smoke screen tactics. And that method was radar. No matter how black the smoke, how thick the screen, radar could always tell our men just where the enemy stood. In the fight against prejudice, we've got a powerful weapon to help us there, too. And that weapon is called reason. For with the help of reason, we can see through the heaviest lies. Remember, boys and girls, that when you're aimed with reason, you can always see the truth. And now, the adventures of Superman. When Superman and Batman found Captain Donovan of the Metropolis Detective Bureau unconscious in a hotel room, they were puzzled to discover a round orange mark about the size of a quarter on his forehead. Then, after Donovan was revived, he explained that he had trailed a confidence man known as the Count to the hotel room and had found there a parcel containing a dozen huge diamonds, each the size of a hen's egg. But almost at once, Donovan had suffered a strange weakness, during which time the Count had escaped from the room with the diamonds. Just then, police headquarters reported that 3 more people had been found unconscious, and on the forehead of each one was a peculiar orange mark similar to Captain Donovan's. As we continue now, Clark Kent, who is Superman, is with Inspector Henderson at the home of Charles Patton, the millionaire banker. In the downstairs library of the mansion, Kent and Henderson are questioning Dr. Hale, who is Mr. Patton's personal physician.
Tell me, Dr. Hale, who reported finding Mr. and Mrs. Patton and the butler?
Their chauffeur did, Inspector. When I arrived and saw those strange orange burns on their forehead, I immediately called the police, of course.
Of course.
Did you say burns, Doctor?
I think that's what they are, Mr. Kent.
You think?
Well, they seem to be burns, Inspector. But frankly, I can't be positive. I've never seen anything like them before.
Tell me, who else was here when you arrived, Doctor?
The chauffeur and the cook.
Nobody else?
No, sir.
Were there any marks on the Pattons or the butler to indicate that they'd been slugged, maybe?
No marks at all, Inspector, except those circular orange spots on their foreheads. I can't understand what caused them to lose consciousness in the first place and why they're still so weak. They can't lift a finger.
Are they able to talk, Doctor?
Mr. Patton is.
Did he tell you anything?
Only that he couldn't account for what had happened.
Well,
May we see him, Doctor?
Yes, his room's on the next floor at the head of the stairs. Please try not to tire him too much, though. He's very weak.
Okay. Come on, Kent. You say you had a visitor just before you and your wife had these attacks, Mr. Patton?
That's right, Inspector.
Mr. Mitchell. He said he was a dealer in diamonds.
Diamonds?
Yes, Mr. Kent. He phoned me saying he knew I collected rare gems and wondered if I'd be interested in purchasing a most unusual diamond.
I see.
I asked him where I could see it, and he said he'd bring it over.
That was when?
Early this evening.
Uh-huh.
Well, he arrived within half an hour. Now, I must say, gentlemen, he hadn't exaggerated when he said he had a most unusual diamond.
Oh?
Mrs. Patton and I have seen many fine stones. As a matter of fact, we own the famous Marshwell diamond, you know, but this one took our breath away.
What was it like, Mr. Patton?
Well, it must have weighed several hundred carats.
What?
Yes, in fact. It was large as a hen's egg. While it hadn't been polished much, it was still so brilliant, the firing, you know, that it dazzled you. We've never seen anything like it.
Well, I'll be...
Sorry, Mr. Patton. Was there by any chance some ore-like stuff clinging to it?
What's the difference, Kent?
Why, yes, there was.
I thought so. That was one of the Count's diamonds, Inspector.
The Count's diamonds?
Yes. Mr. Patton, what did this fellow Mitchell look like?
Well, he was rather plump, about 40, I'd say, almost bald.
That wasn't the Count.
Then it was someone else peddling the Count's diamond.
What makes you so sure of that, Kent?
Because Mr. Patton's description of the diamonds tallies exactly with Captain Donovan's. Size, lack of polish, brilliant inner fire, and the unusual ore-like substance clinging to it.
Okay. So what if it was one of the Count's diamonds?
Well, don't you
Look
care?
here, gentlemen, what are you talking about?
You'll see in a moment, Mr. Patton. Please tell us now what happened after Mitchell showed you the diamond.
Well, Mrs. Patton and I were fascinated by the stone. I asked Mr. Mitchell what its price was, and he astonished me when he said only $100,000.
Oh, we're wasting time. Listen, Mr. Patton...
Please, Inspector, let him finish.
I became suspicious then, because a diamond like that's worth at least a couple of million. So I questioned Mitchell about where he got the stuff.
Look, all this isn't getting us any place.
Oh, yes, it is. Go on, Mr. Patton, please.
I'd signaled Graham, my butler, to come in, and when I had the chance, I whispered to him to telephone the police.
I see.
I guess Mitchell realized something was amiss because he picked up the diamond at once, put it into a box, and said he had to go. I tried to detain him, but he wouldn't wait.
Uh-huh.
And just as he left the room, my wife and I noticed him.
What?
You noticed what?
I noticed a round, orange mark about the size of a quarter coming out on her forehead. She noticed the same thing on mine.
Uh-huh. That convinces me.
This fence, Mitchell, did he do anything to you, touch you, or...
Oh, no, Inspector, not a thing.
I see.
Then what happened?
My wife and I began feeling terribly weak. Couldn't stand up. I tried to call for help, but I couldn't. Then I guess I fainted because I don't remember anymore until I woke up a few minutes ago in my bedroom here with Dr. Hale attending.
The same way it was with Donovan, Kent.
That's right, Inspector.
It doesn't make sense. I can't understand it.
I think I can, Inspector.
Yeah? Well, let's hear it, Kent.
Come downstairs with me, and I'll tell you.
All right, Kent, all right, let's have it. What's the answer to these orange burns and dizzy spells?
The Count's diamonds, Inspector.
The Count's diamonds?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
The diamonds cause anyone who handles them or even comes very close to them to become completely helpless and then lose consciousness. And they're responsible for those strange orange marks on the victim's forehead.
Are you kidding?
Not at all.
I suppose they cast an evil spell, huh?
Oh.
Like the diamond in a Hindu idol's eye in a corny mystery story.
Now, look, Inspector, I'm serious.
Yeah, you're a serious mental case if you believe anything like that.
But look,
the diamonds did it of all.
I'm sure they did. Now, I'll admit I don't know how yet. What the power is that they have.
You'll admit that, huh? Well, tell me this, Nature Boy. If handling the diamonds or just being near them knocks you cold, how come the guy who brought the rock to the Pattons this evening, Mitchell, wasn't knocked out?
Well...
Or how about the Count? He was in the hotel room when Donovan passed out.
I know.
But he just picked up his marbles and walked out, like Mitchell did.
I've been thinking about that.
You haven't been thinking, brother. You've been dreaming. And what a dream.
Wait a minute. What the... Dreaming, huh? Well, suppose I told you I could prove it with the diamonds.
Then I'd take off my badge and pin it on you.
Well, take off your badge, Inspector, because I'm going to prove it right now. Come on, follow me.
Followed by the scoffing Inspector Henderson, Clark Kent swiftly crosses the library. How is he going to prove his incredible statement? We'll be back in a moment to find out. So keep listening.
In one of their shows, gang, the famous funny men Olson and Johnson used to play a little trick on their audiences. In the darkened theater, they'd suddenly announce that a lot of spiders had broken loose. And then suddenly little objects would start dropping from the ceiling into the orchestra and balcony. People would scream and wiggle around until the house lights went up. And then they'd sit back and look sheepishly at each other. For they'd see that what they'd imagined were spiders were nothing but little beings. They were all taken in by what we call the power of suggestion. And that same power of suggestion can be used by unscrupulous individuals.
in a way that's far from harmless. Because just as imagination can make beings feel like spiders, so can prejudice give a wholly false impression of people. So when anyone tries to tell you that another individual is inferior or not to be trusted simply because he has a slight accent or because of the manner in which he worships God, why then it's time to turn the lights on the truth revealed by science. The truth which tells us that there is no master race, that no group has a monopoly on intelligence or good looks or honesty or on charm. By meeting and observing all kinds of people yourself, you'll learn that in the really important things, they're no different from you. They want to make friends and enjoy the blessings of living in a free land also. When you can see that for yourself, gang, you won't let the power of suggestion play any tricks on you.
And now, back to the adventures of Superman. Superman and his guise of reporter Clark Kent has led Police Inspector Henderson through the patent library into a walled garden. At the edge of the dark lawn, near a gate in the wall, Kent points to the motionless figure of a man who lies face up on the grass.
Inspector, turn your flashlight over here. No, there. Look, what the... Say, that's Baldy Critchell.
Critchell, alias Mitchell the Fence, the man who came here with one of the Count's diamonds this evening.
Uh-huh. Let's see what happened to him. Maybe...
I can tell you, Inspector.
Just a minute. He's alive. Kent, look at his forehead.
Yes, I've been waiting for you to notice that.
A round orange mark.
The same mark that's on Captain Donovan's forehead and on Mr. and Mrs. Patton and their butlers.
Yeah.
Now are you willing to buy my theory that the Count's diamonds are responsible?
No, I can't. It's too ridiculous, Kent.
Well, maybe, but it's true. The diamond struck Critchell down just as it did the other.
Oh, it's impossible. I tell you,
It's Fred.
What's the matter? I don't know. I feel kind of queer. Wait, great Scott! Huh? There's an orange circle forming on your forehead.
What?
Yes, the diamond is getting you, too. Here, get back in the house, Inspector. Come on before it's too late.
Seizing Inspector Henderson, who is reeling dizzily, Clark Kent drags him across the dark garden and into the patent library as the dread orange circle is forming on the inspector's forehead. Are the Count's diamonds responsible for the strange disasters, as Kent claims? How could it be possible? And if Kent is right, who will be stricken next? There's an even stranger development and an amazing surprise in tomorrow's exciting episode, fellows and girls, so be sure to listen. Tune in, same time, same station, for Chapter 8 of The Secret of Meteor Island on The Adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC Comics magazine and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time. Watch for the Superman Adventure serial, soon to be shown at your local movie theater. This program came from New York. Stay tuned to your Mutual station for Adventure Parade, which follows in just a moment. And right after Adventure Parade, you'll hear Tom Hicks and his Ralston Straight Shooters. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with amazing physical powers far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, wages a never-ending battle for truth and justice. Today, Superman, in his guise of Clark Kent, is with Police Inspector Henderson when the unseen menace strikes again.
Great Scott, Inspector. It's happening to you now. Huh? What do you mean, Jeff? The mysterious orange circle. It's taking shape on your forehead.
Gang, did you know that there is a giant eye which gazes up into the heavens and sees there, who knows, maybe the secret of life itself? Yes, that's right. This giant eye is the new Hale telescope, largest on Earth. It was designed and built to enable man to peer into the heavens and there to see and examine the most distant parts of the universe. Like all other wonderful things, it didn't happen fast. It took 13 years to make this miraculous telescope, whose reflecting mirror, 200 inches wide, is a scientific and engineering achievement. Now, this window to the stars may one day show us the outposts of time and space, the mysteries of world and man. Planets and suns that we know nothing about may soon become known and understood by all of us. Yes, we know we live in a universe whose boundaries go even beyond our imagination, and now this new telescope may bring us closer to those boundaries for the ultimate benefit of all mankind. Now, think for a second, gang. Can you see how, against this majestic and awesome background of time and space, the bickering and squabbling of people and nations becomes not only stupid, but ridiculous? For one look through the Hale telescope shows us very clearly that we are only one tiny part of a great universe, and our troubles and hatreds thereupon become so unimportant by comparison that we should be laughed at for making so much of them. So, instead of spending our energies, our very lives, making wars and fighting our neighbors, let's all try to spend our energies finding out more about the fascinating world we live in and how we can do a better job of living in it. Don't you think so?
And now, the adventures of Superman. A strange, unknown menace which first marks its victims with an orange circle on the forehead and then causes them to lose consciousness has struck out of the dark at a Metropolis police detective captain, a millionaire banker, his wife, and their butler, and finally a criminal dealer in stolen property. Superman, who masquerades as reporter Clark Kent, is convinced that certain large and unusual diamonds, which were smuggled into Metropolis by an ex-convict called the Count, are responsible for the mysterious malady. In Banker Patton's dark garden, Kent was explaining his theory to Police Inspector Henderson when Henderson suddenly complained of feeling dizzy. Kent looked at him, then cried out,
Great Scott, Inspector! An orange circle is coming out on your forehead!
Seizing the dazed Henderson, Kent dragged him into the library of Banker Patton's home. And now, a few minutes later, Henderson sits up on the couch where Kent had placed him and looks around.
Feeling better now, Inspector?
Yeah, I guess so, Kent. What
Good.
happened?
I must have gotten you away in time. The orange circle is gone from your forehead.
From my forehead?
So an orange circle starting to take shape on your forehead and realized you were coming under the power of the Count's diamond, so I grabbed you and dragged you into the house.
Now, wait, Kent.
Apparently just in time.
Wait, I said. What diamond are you talking about?
The one that Baldy Critchell, the fence, tried to sell to Mr. Patton this evening. It was in Critchell's pocket when we found him in the garden.
Yeah, but what makes you think the diamond has anything to do with what happened?
Well, I'm sure it did.
Ah, nonsense. There's something screwy going on, and I think Critchell knows the answer. I want to have a talk with him.
No can do, Inspector.
What? Don't tell me you let him get away, Kent.
No, he couldn't get away. He was unconscious.
Well, then where is he?
Upstairs in a bedroom where Dr. Hale is trying to bring him to.
Oh.
He's having a tough time. Seems as if Critchell had the diamond on him for a long time and it had a chance to work on him, but good.
Will you stop with that nonsense? Who ever heard of a diamond making people lose consciousness and making orange circles appear on their forehead?
I realize it sounds fantastic,
Fantastic? It's ridiculous, cockeyed.
Look.
I thought you had more sense, Kent.
Oh. Then what caused you to get the mark on your forehead and start to pass out in the garden just a few minutes ago?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, I do know. It was a diamond in Critchell's pocket. You were within a few inches of it.
And you were too, wise guy.
Huh?
So, if it was the diamond, why didn't you pass out too and get the mark on your forehead?
Oh, well,
No, you can't answer that, can you?
Well, it just...
Oh, there goes your theory out of the window.
Not at all. It just happens that I'm, I'm immune to a lot of things.
Ah, baloney. I still think Critchell can give us the answer to what's going on. Come on. We'll go upstairs and see if the doc brought him to you. How about Critchell, Dr. Hale? Can he talk yet?
No, Inspector. He's in a very critical condition.
Uh-oh. What's wrong with him?
Well, frankly, I don't know.
You don't?
No, I've never seen anything like this before.
Look, Doctor. That orange circle on Critchell's forehead. Any ideas about that?
Well, at first I thought it was a burn, but now I'm not so sure.
Tell me, do you think Critchell will pull through?
I can't say, Inspector. I think he should be removed to a hospital where they'll be better able to diagnose his ailment.
Okay. Send him to the Metropolis Hospital.
Very well. I'll report to you later.
Well, this is a fine kettle of fish, Kent. I was hoping Baldy Critchell could give us the answer to all this screwy stuff.
I don't think he knows, Inspector.
He must. There was nothing wrong with Mr. and Mrs. Patton and their butler till he showed up.
So I figure he did something to them. But Mr. Patton says Critchell did not touch them.
Well, he might have used a gas.
Oh, fine. Would he have used it on himself, too?
No, but he might have been caught by the stuff. Accidentally, you know.
Do you believe the Count used the secret gas, too, and without Donovan being aware of it?
Well, it doesn't seem very likely, but...
Likely. It's silly and you know it.
Okay, wise guy. What is the answer, then?
The diamonds, of course. They may give off some sort of ray.
Look, Kent, don't start that nonsense again.
It's the only possible explanation, and I can prove it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
How?
I've got the diamond Critchell had right here in my pocket.
Hey!
Oh, don't jump, Inspector. It's safely wrapped up in lead foil now.
Oh.
We'll take it up to Dr. Millicent, the famous scientist, you know. Have him look it over. And if I'm wrong, well, I'll eat the diamond.
You've got yourself a bet, Kent. Let's go. Keep back behind this shield, Inspector. Mm-hmm. If Kent is right and the diamond does contain some dangerous agent, you'll be safe here. I'm convinced Kent is dead wrong, Dr. Millicent.
And I'm just as convinced I'm right.
Well, I'm inclined to side with Inspector Henderson, but we'll soon find out. Now, keep your eyes on those two coils on either side of the diamond. I'm going to turn on the current now.
Well, I don't see anything happening.
Well, the coils have to heat up first.
Oh.
That's a most amazing diamond. What interests me are those fragments of stone or metal clinging to it. I've never seen anything like it.
Oh, neither have I. But it's crazy to think it.
Watch those flashes jumping out of the diamond.
Great Caesar. Why, that means there is some active agent in the diamond.
There is? I knew it.
The magnetic coils have attracted it and set up a contact, you see? Why, this is amazing.
What is the agent in the diamond, Dr. Millicent?
Well, I don't know, Ken, but Great heavens!
What is it, Dr. Millicent?
Do you gentlemen hear that clicking sound?
Yes.
Well, what about it?
That's a Geiger counter.
A Geiger counter?
Doctor, do you mean... I mean that diamond is radioactive, Ken.
Radioactive?
Yes, highly and very dangerously radioactive.
Well, I'll be... Scott, this is serious. There are several other diamonds like this somewhere in Metropolis.
What?
Hey, that's right, Kent. We've got to find the Count and those diamonds in a hurry, Inspector, because anyone who comes near them is in danger of losing his life.
Deadly dangerous radioactive diamonds, somewhere in Metropolis to peril innocent people. This sounds like a job for Superman. We'll be back in a moment for the startling climax of today's episode. So keep listening.
Gang, many's the time you've heard a fella say, see that guy got bad blood, that's why he's so mean. Or she comes from one of the oldest Boston families, a real blue blood. Well, all this talk sounds as if different people have blood of different colors and quality. As if you could have blue blood or bad blood. So let's get it cleared up once and for all. It's not true. Science tells us that there are no differences in blood because of a person's skin color, the way he worships God, where he lives, or where he comes from. You can prick a fella's finger and look at his blood, but you won't be able to tell a thing about him from that except perhaps the state of his health. Now, science knows this to be absolutely true, and if you ask your big brothers who are veterans, I bet they'll tell you it's true, too. For many of our fighting men received blood transfusions during the war from patriotic Americans of every race and religion, from rich men and poor men, professors and laborers. Your own brother may be alive today because of blood plasma given to him by an Indian or Mexican, Buddhist, Quaker, a Jew, or a Catholic. It hasn't made your brother any different, has it? Then why should it make the people who give it to him any different? There are 4 types, A, B, O, and AB. Anybody can have any one of these types of blood. Now, type O can be mixed with any of the other types, but the rest can't be mixed with each other, or the patient will die. So you see, gang, the only thing that counts when you're getting a blood transfusion is whether or not the new blood is the same blood type as yours. And don't ever forget that, will you, boys and girls?
And now, back to the adventures of Superman. As Clark Kent and Inspector Henderson in Dr. Millicent's laboratory were making their amazing discovery about the radioactive diamonds, Jimmy Olsen, cub reporter for the Daily Planet, and Beanie Martin, chief copy boy, had just left a bus and were approaching the Metropolis Hospital.
This works out right, Jimmy. I'll have a scoop for page 1.
Oh, quit dreaming, Jim. You can't scoop Mr. Kent and Miss Lane.
Who said I can? Do they know Baldy Critchell, the fence, was found unconscious at that millionaire's house, the Pattons, tonight?
Well, maybe not.
No,
but...
maybe about it. They couldn't know. They weren't at the office tonight when the flash came over the teletype.
I know,
And
but...
they weren't at the Patton's house either when we got there. And I wormed it out of a cop that Critchell had been taken to the Metropolis Hospital.
Well, you call that a scoop, just finding out that Baldy Critchell's at the hospital?
Of course not. But I'm the only reporter in town who knows where he is. I'm going to try to see him and find out what happened at the Patton house when they all passed out. That'll be a real scoop, Beanie.
Well, yeah, if you find out. But, hey, what's the matter with him?
Who?
That guy coming across the street. See? Look how he's walking. He must be hurt. Or drunk, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we better help him. He might get hit by a car or... No, he got across all right.
Listen, Beanie. You know who that is?
No, to you?
Yeah, that's the Count. The guy who smuggled all those diamonds into Metropolis and almost got me killed by those gangsters when he slipped me the dummy package.
Golly, are you sure that's him?
I know it is. And that package he's carrying may have the smuggled diamonds in it. Come on, Beanie.
Where you going, Jim?
I'm going to grab that guy and call the police. Hurry up.
Well, but golly, if he's a smuggler, well, maybe we'd better call the police first.
And let him get away? Nothing doing. Come on, Beanie. I'm really going to make page one now.
Eagerly, Jimmy Olsen and Beanie Martin hurry toward the staggering figure of the man called the Count, unaware that they are stepping into deadly danger. For the package the Count carries does contain the smuggled diamonds, which, as we know, are highly radioactive, a menace to the life of anyone who comes near them. What will happen to Jimmy and Beanie? There's a sharp surprise and a thrill a minute in tomorrow's exciting episode, fellows and girls, so be sure to listen. Tune in, same time, same station, for Chapter 9 of The Secret of Meteor Island on The Adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC Comics Magazine and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time. Watch for the Superman Adventure serial, soon to be shown at your local movie theater. This program came to you from New York. Stay tuned to your mutual station for Adventure Parade, which follows in just a moment. And right after Adventure Parade, you'll hear Tom Mix and his Ralston Straight Shooters. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
It's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with amazing physical powers far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, wages a never-ending battle for truth and justice. Today, urged by Superman, Mayor Perry White takes to the radio to warn the great city of Metropolis that it is in peril.
All citizens of Metropolis are warned to beware of several huge diamonds which have been smuggled into the city. These diamonds, each the size of a hen's egg, are highly radioactive. Contact with them may result in death. Anyone having knowledge of these diamonds should immediately contact the police department or the mayor's office.
Gang, supposing you were walking down the street one day, loaded down with $1 that you'd earned, and suddenly a stranger comes up to you, gives you the glad hand, and makes a proposition. For $1, one small dollar, the 10th part of $10, he says, I'll sell you this beautiful box I have in my hand. You look, you see its big, interesting-looking box, nicely wrapped up in red, white, and blue trimming. The only hitch is you can't see what's inside. Now, honestly, would you give that guy your hard-earned buck for a fancy package that contains you don't know what? Well, you'd need your head examined if you did, because only a sucker would buy a package without opening it up and seeing what's inside first. Now, ideas are pretty much like packages, and people are always trying to sell you ideas which all too often are wrapped up in such fancy trimmings you can't see what you're buying. Also, more often than not, their favorite colors are red, white, and blue. Well, don't be fooled, gang. Be smart enough to examine each idea for what it's worth. Inspect it carefully and evaluate it before you accept it. For you know that no matter how beautifully an idea is wrapped up in patriotic lingo, it isn't patriotic, it isn't American, if it's designed to make you think one man is better than another because of his race, religion, or where his people came from. It isn't American if you stop a man from speaking his mind just because you don't happen to agree with him. So always take a good look at the inside of an idea, boys and girls. See what it really means, what it's worth in believing in. Then buy it.
And now, the adventures of Superman.
Soon after an ex-convict known as the Count smuggled several huge and unusual diamonds into Metropolis, 5 persons suffered a strange fate. A detective captain, a dealer in stolen property, then a banker, his wife, and their butler all collapsed, and a peculiar orange circle appeared on their foreheads, following contact with the diamond. Superman secured one of the gems and took it to Dr. Millison, the famous scientist, who discovered that the large and unusual stone was dangerously radioactive. As Superman and the police began a frantic search for the Count and his deadly diamonds, Jimmy Olsen, cub reporter for the Daily Planet, and his friend Beanie Martin, chief copy boy, were approaching the Metropolis Hospital, where one of the diamond victims had been taken. Suddenly, on a dark street near the hospital, Jimmy saw the Count, staggering drunkenly just ahead of them. As we continue now, the 2 youngsters have hurried forward and seized the arms of the staggering criminal.
I've got him, Beanie. You get a policeman.
I don't see any, Jim.
We'll find one.
Help me, please.
Sure. We'll help lock you up. That's what, Mr. Smuggler. Hurry up, Beanie.
Get me to a hospital. I'm dying.
Gee whiz.
Beanie, for Pete's sake, what are you standing there for? Get a car.
But gosh, didn't you hear what he said, Jim? He said he was dying.
Dying. Help me, please.
Hey, he does seem sick.
Sure he is. Look, Jim. That big orange circle on his forehead.
Gee, what is that, I wonder?
Please, take me to a hospital.
He's falling, Jim.
I've got him. He passed out.
I'll give you a hand. We'll carry him to the hospital.
Okay. Hey, wait. Where's that package he had? It must have the smuggled diamonds in it.
I don't know. Oh, it's back there on the sidewalk. He must have dropped it.
We'll get it. Hurry up.
Okay.
Never you mind there, laddie. I'll take that package.
Let go of that.
I'll take 'em all safe.
Come back here.
Hey, what's happening, Beanie?
That guy grabbed the diamond.
Hey, come back here.
Come back here, you...
Keep him, listen. He shot at us.
Police, he hit the Count.
Holy smokes.
Gee whiz, Jim, what do we do?
Beat it up to the hospital quick and get help, Beanie. Then call Mr. Ken and the police. I'm going after that guy. Taxi! Taxi!
As mayor of Metropolis, Chief, it's your duty to warn everyone in the city about those diamonds. Now, I suggest you make a radio broadcast.
But radioactive diamonds? Why, I can't believe it, Kent.
You can believe Dr. John Millison, one of our top atomic scientists, can't you?
Yes, of course. But...
Well, he said the stone was highly radioactive.
But that was only one diamond, Kent. And it's out of circulation now.
No,
There's
but
no reason to alarm the whole city needlessly.
You don't understand, Chief. There are at least 11 other just as dangerously radioactive diamonds in Metropolis.
There are?
Yes. Count smuggled in about a dozen. The diamond I found on Baldy Critchell, the fence, is just one of that lot.
Now, wait. Who said it was?
Oh, what's the difference, Chief? Baldy Critchell was seen leaving the Count's hotel room just before Captain Donovan of the Detective Bureau got there. And the stone I found on Critchell is exactly like the ones Donovan saw in the Count's room. So the Count must have sold it to Critchell.
Now, wait a minute, Kent. Wait a minute. If the Count's diamonds are so radioactive, how come he and everybody else on the boat he smuggled them in on weren't killed?
Because the stones were coated with some special ore-like or lead substance which prevented the release of the reactive rays. But the coating had cracked, undoubtedly, after the Count got off the boat.
Great Caesar, it sounds fantastic.
But it's true. Let's not waste any more time. Till the Count and those 11 diamonds are taken out of circulation, anyone who comes near them is in danger of his life. Now, I suggest you make a radio broadcast to the whole city, warning everyone that if they come...
Just a minute, Kent. Hello? Mayor White speaking. Who? Oh, Vinny. Well, what do you want? Yes, he's here, but... What? What's that?
What's the matter, Chief?
Great Caesar's ghost. Where are you now? I see. Well, wait a minute. Wait, I said! Now, listen. Oh, shucks, you stay right where you are, you understand? We'll be right out. That was Beanie Martin, Kent. He and Jim ran into the Count.
Great Scott, where?
As near as I could make out from Beanie's excited jabber, they were outside the Metropolis Hospital. Somebody got shot,
what?
And Jim ran after somebody else. I couldn't make much out of it,
I'll
but
hop out there at once.
Now, wait a minute, Kent.
I'll check with you later, Chief. So long. Out of these clothes. This is a job for Superman. There we are. All set. Now, out to the Metropolis Hospital. Up, and away! Hello, Beanie.
Holy cow, Superman!
Yes. Look, Beanie,
Where'd you come from?
Never mind. What happened here?
Well, Jim Olsen and I saw the Count, that smuggler, you know.
Yes, I know. Go on.
Well, he was trying to get to the hospital. There was something wrong with him. He could hardly walk, and there was a big orange circle on his forehead.
So, his radioactive diamonds got him, too.
Huh?
Never mind. Go on, Beanie. What happened?
Well, Jim and I were going to carry him into the hospital, but before I could pick up a package he dropped, Jim said the smuggled diamonds must be in it.
Yes?
A car pulled up, and a guy jumped out and grabbed the package.
Oh?
Then he jumped back into the car. Another guy was driving, and as they pulled away, the first one leaned out and shot the Count.
What?
Yeah. I was so scared I didn't know what to do. But Jim said for me to rush up to the hospital and get help while he went after those guys.
What? You mean Jim went after them alone?
Uh-huh. In a taxi cab. Gosh, I hope he doesn't get into any trouble.
Which way did they go?
That way. Past the hospital.
Now, think carefully, Beanie. The man who shot the Count and grabbed the diamonds. What did he look like?
Well, he wasn't very big, and he had a thin, bony face.
Yes?
Oh, yeah, and reddish hair.
Good boy. Now, what about his car? Did you notice the color or what make it was?
No, everything happened so... Wait a minute. It was a small car, I think, and dark colors.
All right, I'm going after them. You stay here till the police come, Beanie. Up, up, and away!
There they go, turning back into the park. Don't lose them, driver.
I see them. That's twice they've turned in and out of the park. They must be wise that we're trailing them.
Only we'd see a squad car or a motorcycle cop.
Yeah. I'm not too keen on getting close to those gunmen.
Just trail them so we know where they go. Then we'll get the police. Hey, they're stopping.
Yeah. So are we, buddy. And we're not going up any closer.
Why not?
Well, I don't want to take no chances.
Look.
Them got...
Huh? One of them's getting out of the car. The one who grabbed the diamonds and shot the Count.
Hey, the other one's driving off. Want to follow him?
No. I'm going to trail the one who got out. He's the murderer, and he must have the diamonds in that box or whatever it is he's carrying. Here's a bill. Keep the change.
Hey, wait. You can't chase after that guy alone in this park. It's dark.
I've got to.
But you'll have to get killed.
I'll be careful. I won't let him see me. Look, you find some cops and send them after me. So long.
Leaving the taxicab, Jimmy Olsen steps onto the park grass and runs through the darkness in the direction the red-headed man had taken. The cub reporter is running headlong into danger, as we'll find out in just a moment. So keep listening.
Fellows and girls, you've undoubtedly been asked many times by various people, what do you hope to be when you grow up? Well, have you given that much thought? Would you like to be a doctor, maybe, or a lawyer? Or perhaps some of you would like to be teachers, or actors, nurses, or engineers. And I'd be willing to bet that a number of you hope to be big league baseball players, or firemen, or policemen. Well, whatever your ambition, whatever goal you strive to reach in your adult life, you must keep in mind that to fill any one of these jobs requires a great deal of know-how. And know-how requires much studying in preparation for success in any chosen career. That, of course, is what our schools are for, to provide the know-how necessary for success in life. Now, there are some boys and girls who think they can fulfill their ambitions despite the fact they play hooky from school, neglect their homework, disregard their parents and teachers, and run around with gangs that get into all kinds of trouble. They're the kind who are called juvenile delinquents, which is an adult phrase for youngsters who think it's smart to do things they know are wrong. Well, do you think General Eisenhower or Joe DiMaggio or any current American hero or heroine was so foolish when he or she was your age? You can bet anything they were not. Now then, I'm not here to lecture. I just mentioned these things as a friendly tip, so to speak, in an effort to remind you that if you really want to grow up to be a success and happy, keep your eye on your goal and don't let anything steer you away from it.
And now, back to the adventures of Superman.
Pursuing the man who had shot the Count and seized the smuggled diamonds, cub reporter Jimmy Olsen raced across an open stretch of park lawn. Now he has stopped before a dark, quiet lagoon, the blackish water gleaming in the light of a pale moon. On both sides of him are shadowy clumps of bushes. And the man he pursued is nowhere to be seen.
I don't see him. Where'd he go?
I'm right here, laddie.
Huh?
You shouldn't have come after me, young fellow.
Now you let go. Right now.
Struggling frantically in the strong grasp of the red-headed man who had shot the Count and made off with the smuggled diamond, Jimmy Olsen realizes he is being swiftly overpowered. Who is Jimmy's assailant? Why did he shoot the dying Count and seize the radioactive diamond?
And what will happen to the cub reporter as Superman searches for him vainly? Tomorrow tells all, gang. So don't miss tomorrow's exciting episode, whatever you do. Be sure to tune in, same time, same station, for Chapter 10 of The Secret of Meteor Island on The Adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC comic magazines and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time. Watch for the Superman Adventure serial soon to be shown at your local movie theater. This program came to you from New York. Stay tuned to your mutual station for Adventure Parade, which follows in just a moment. And right after Adventure Parade, you'll hear Tom Mix and his Ralston Straight Shooters. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with amazing physical powers far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, wages a never-ending battle for truth and justice. Today, Superman is unaware that Jimmy Olsen, while trailing a mysterious gunman through the park, is confused by the darkness and blunders into the arms of his quarry.
You weren't smart to come after me, laddie. Now you'll pay the price, but I'll have to get rid of you.
Say, gang, do you remember what happened when Alice in Wonderland ate the cake marked Eat Me? Well, just in case you don't, I'll tell you. She shot up until she was 7 feet tall. Then she drank some liquid marked poison, and bingo, she shrank till she was only 3 inches high. You probably laughed over that because you know people just don't grow that fast. And they certainly don't shrink like shirts in the wash. All the same, it's pretty wonderful when you think how fast we do grow. Maybe you've noticed, certainly your mom has noticed, how quickly you get too big for your suits or dresses or shoes. And you've probably heard family friends or relatives who haven't seen you for a couple of months say, goodness, how you've grown. Well, the fact is that everything alive grows. But haven't you noticed there's something special about the growth in humans? That's true because most of us don't just grow in size, we grow in ideas. Our brains grow and develop along with our teeth, hands, and feet. And that's what we really mean by the phrase growing up. Actually, it means we grow wiser, more sensible. We learn to discard all the make-believe we swallowed as babies. You wouldn't expect a baby to know it's nonsense to say that one man is better than another because of his race or religion. But you would expect a grown-up to know that. Matter of fact, you'd expect anyone who's growing up to know that. So remember, when people fall for such ridiculous infantile ideas, they can be wearing a size 15 shoe. But inside their heads, they're like Alice in Wonderland after she drank that liquid marked poison. They're shrinking. They've gone into reverse gear. They're growing down, not growing up. Don't let that happen to you.
And now, the adventures of Superman. While Superman and the police searched for a man known only as the Count, who had smuggled deadly radioactive diamonds into the country, cub reporter Jimmy Olsen and Beanie Martin of the Daily Planet accidentally spotted the wanted smuggler just as another man appeared, shot the Count, and, snatching the package of lethal diamonds, escaped in a waiting car. Jimmy hailed a taxicab and pursued the man who, when they reached the park, leaped from the car and ran through the darkness. Forgetful of danger, the cub reporter raced after him, lost him, then blundered into the man's hands. Shortly afterwards, having learned from Beanie Martin of Jimmy's reckless pursuit, Clark Kent resumed his true identity of Superman and took to the air in search of his young friend. Ranging far above the vicinity of the hospital, Superman streaks in ever wider circles and is now hovering high above dark Metropolis Park, poised in curious flight.
Still no sign of Jim. Or of the red-headed man Beanie said he went after. Where'll I look now? Oh, wait a minute. What's that down there in that lake? Great Scott! Down! Down! It's Jim! Is he? Oh, he's alive, thank heaven. I better get him to a hospital, but fast. Up with him. There we are. Now, up, up,
Good news, I hope.
Yes, Inspector Henderson, Jim's going to be all right.
Ah, fine, Kent, fine. I'm glad. Now, tell me again, what happened to him?
Well, as I told you, the red-headed fellow he was chasing slugged Jim and threw him into the lagoon.
I see.
Fortunately, Superman arrived in time to save Jim, but the redhead got away, and, Superman hasn't been able to find him.
Okay, don't worry about that, Kent. We'll have him soon, and the Count's diamonds, too.
Really? What makes you so sure?
Because, as you know, the diamonds are highly radioactive. So, in a little while, that fellow will start to feel weak and sick. Then he'll see the orange circle coming out on his forehead.
But, Inspector...
when that happens, he'll make for a hospital or a doctor, the way the Count did. They've all been alerted. The moment he shows up, they'll call my office. See? Simple, huh?
Too simple. I'm afraid you're going to be disappointed, Inspector.
Why do you say that, Kent?
Because Jim said this fellow had the diamonds in what appeared to be a lead box.
A lead box?
Yes, and the rays won't penetrate lead.
Won't?
No. That means this fellow knew the diamonds were radioactive and was prepared to protect himself against them. So he isn't just an ordinary thief as we thought at first.
Well, who in thunder is he then?
I don't know.
Kent, this case is getting wackier by the minute. Radioactive diamonds. How do you make sense out of this mess?
Well, I'm not sure, Inspector, but I've got a hunch.
I don't want hunches, Kent. I want facts.
Well, I know.
And I want the Cockney and the diamonds before disaster strikes this whole city.
Well, look,
just a minute.
Sergeant Healy speaking.
Anything on the Cockney yet, Healy?
Not yet, sir.
Well, what's the matter with you?
Every inch of the park, and we're double-checking with every doctor and hospital.
Well, never mind that. Set roadblocks on every street and bridge leading out of the city.
Yes.
And plant men at the airport, the railroad stations, and bus terminals. Put out a three-state alarm. We've got to get that fella and get him fast.
Right, Inspector.
Well, that's that. Let's go, Kent. Where to? To the Metropolis Hospital. I said I want facts, and I think I know where to get them. Come on. Now, look, Doctor, don't tell me the Count is too sick to be questioned because I've got to question him. His blasted diamonds have endangered the whole city, and unless we...
Just a minute, Inspector.
Huh?
I'm sorry, but the Count is dead.
What?
Uh-oh.
Sorry, we did all we could to save him.
Hey, look, Inspector. Maybe Baldy Critchell knows something about him.
Say, that's an idea, Kent. He worked with the Count.
Uh-huh.
What shape is he in, Doctor?
His condition's rather critical, too, Inspector.
Oh, now,
but
look.
since the matter is so urgent...
It's life and death for thousands of people.
Under such circumstances, you may question.
Good.
Come this way.
You know, Critchell, for a guy who's supposed to be smart, you sure pulled a sucker play.
Yeah? Like what, Inspector?
Well, to begin with, you paid the Count a nice piece of money for a hot diamond, figuring you'd turn it over for a fat profit, which is good business in your line, I suppose. But you were played for a sucker by the Count, who didn't tell you the stone was radioactive.
The stone was what?
Radioactive. That means it gives off deadly rays of radioactivity.
Go on. Are you kidding?
Kid?
Yeah.
Look, what do you think made that orange circle on your forehead and put you here in the hospital?
Oh, I don't know. The doc won't tell me.
I'm telling you. It was the diamond. And if the patent, those people you tried to sell it to, die, you get a murder rap.
Murder rap?
Sure, if you live to go on trial, that is.
I don't believe it. You're just trying to break me down to get me to talk.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. Dr. Milton.
Yes, Inspector?
Will you come in, please, and tell Critchell here what's the matter with him?
Yes. Critchell, you're suffering from the effects of radioactivity.
Holy smokes. Is that on the level?
It is. Anything else, Inspector?
That's all, and thanks, Doctor.
You're quite welcome.
Get the picture now, Baldy? The Count sold you a radioactive diamond that was hot 2 ways. Yeah. He told you nothing, figuring that if the rays killed you, it was your hard luck, not his. See?
Dirty rat.
Are you going to let him get away with it?
What can I do? I may die.
You can pay him back for the double cross by helping me to get the goods on him. What do you say?
Yeah. Okay. What do you want me to do? We'll be back in a moment for the startling climax of today's episode. So keep listening.
More than 300 years ago, gang, the famous Italian scientist named Galileo was put on trial for his life because of his theory that the Earth revolved around the sun. Now, the men of Galileo's time, which was the 17th century, considered this idea outlandish and dangerous, since, so far as they were concerned, everybody in his right mind knew the sun went around the Earth. So they put poor Galileo on trial and told him to take it all back or else. Well, Galileo pretended to change his mind. But, so the story goes, he kept his fingers crossed and he muttered under his breath,
Whatever I tell these fools won't change the true fact. The Earth still goes around the sun.
Today, of course, we know that Galileo was right. And that famous remark of his sure hit the nail on the head. For superstitions, phony unscientific theories, and all the stupid talk in the world won't change the true fact. Yet today, just as in Galileo's time, there are people who would like to squash the truth. They don't want you to know the real facts. Hitler's doctrine of a master race is such an example. But fortunately, in our country at least, things have changed a lot since Galileo's time. The big talker with the screwy ideas can't put them over on the rest of it. For science has provided us with the real facts, and no amount of talk can change them. Science has told us once and for all that there are no basic differences among men because of race or religion. Those words will stand in time as truth, just as Galileo's did. And the rest? Future generations will chuckle, and they'll say, it is to laugh.
And now, back to the adventures of Superman. In the Metropolis Hospital, Clark Kent and Inspector Henderson wait tensely as Baldy Critchell, the criminal dealer in stolen property, prepares to tell all he knows about the late gem smuggler known as the Count.
Go on, Critchell. Start talking.
Okay, Inspector. Here's the story. The Count calls me up a few days ago and says he just come in from the Far East.
Where in the Far East, Critchell?
Well, he didn't say, Mr. Kent.
Oh?
But he come to my place and showed me these diamonds here. About 12 there was. The likes of which I'd never seen before. Great big stones they was, the size of it.
Was there anybody else with you at the time?
No, just me and the Count.
Uh-huh. Go on.
Well, the Count says he wanted to unload the rocks fast on account of the guy he was agent for and wanted dough.
Now, wait a minute.
Yeah?
Who was he agent for?
Well, you wouldn't tell me that.
Oh.
But I know he's in the Far East somewhere, and account of the Count let that slip.
Uh-huh. Then what?
Well, then the Count said he'd sell the diamonds to me for $50,000 each, and when I says he could easy unload for twice that, he tells me he wants quick action on account of this guy he's working for had a lot of other diamonds he wanted to get rid of.
What? He had others?
Yeah, sure. Loads of them, the Count said. You see, they weren't going to come into the country as big as these first 12, though, on account of, well, that would attract too much attention. You see, they was being cut up small, so they could be distributed around nice and easy through fences all over the country.
Great Scott, Inspector. That means the country is in danger of being flooded with radioactive diamonds. Now, take it easy, Kent. Look, Critchell.
Yeah?
The Count say these small diamonds were already in the country?
Oh, no. But he said they would be very soon, Inspector.
Did he tell you who was handling the deal on these small diamonds?
But he said he and me could cut in on some of that gravy, too, after we got rid of the big rock.
Tell me, Critchell.
Yeah?
Did you ever see, or did the Count ever mention, a thin, bony-faced man with red hair who talks like a Cockney?
No.
Are you sure?
Sure, I'm sure. Why?
Because whoever he is, he knew about the diamonds being radioactive and about the Count having them. So he's probably one of the Far East gang, Inspector. He may even be the distributor for the small stones. Yes, and we've got to find him, because until and unless we do, every person in the country will be in danger of his life.
First, the city of Metropolis. Now the entire country is menaced by the strange radioactive diamonds, which Baldy Critchell said were destined to flow throughout the land. Superman and the famous Batman and Robin, too, go into action to meet this threat Monday, fellows and girls, so be sure to be with us. Tune in, same time, same station, for another exciting episode of The Secret of Meteor Island on The Adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC Comics magazine and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time. Watch for the Superman Adventure serial, soon to be shown at your local movie theater. This program came from New York. Stay tuned to your mutual station for Adventure Parade, which follows in just a moment. And right after Adventure Parade, you will hear Tom Mix and his Ralston Straight Shooters. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with amazing physical powers far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, wages a never-ending battle for truth and justice. in a desperate attempt to trace the radioactive diamonds, Superman calls on the famous Batman and Robin to undertake a dangerous job.
I need your help, Batman. You too, Robin.
Well, you know you can count on us, Superman.
Amen to that.
Thanks.
Now, what's your plan?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Now, before I tell you any more, I feel it's my duty to warn you both that if you go into this, you'll probably be risking your lives every second.
Skip it. That's nothing for us, Superman.
Check. In case you've forgotten, our middle name is Danger.
I thought you'd say that. All right, then. Get set now for a fast trip to the other side of the world.
It's camping time, boys and girls, and I'm sure lots of you are getting ready to whip out to the country for 2 weeks or maybe even a whole summer of camping if you're lucky enough. Well, we're not going to tell you to pick your camp. You've probably got one all chosen already anyway. But we'd like to give you some suggestions about what makes a good camp and what makes a good camper. For one thing, a good camp encourages some competition, but not crazy competition. Oh, sure, it's swell to be the fastest swimmer in your bunk and the best basketball player in your division. But it's even better to be a team player, a boy or girl who's known to be cooperative, who's known to be able to work with others. Then, when your group comes out on top, it's a higher tribute to you than if you came out on top. And say, here's another tip. A good camp has sharp counselors. And a good camper is smart enough to admit that his counselor knows better than he does. Once that's settled, weeks of endless and unnecessary wrangling can come to an abrupt halt, and the real fun can begin. But you can't have fun if you and your counselors are at sword's edges. And finally, a good camp will take in boys of every race and religion who can meet the other qualifications that the camp sets. And a good camper will make friends and get along with all the boys and girls there who are on the level and really good Joes. Well, gang, there you are. Some tips for happy camping days ahead.
And now, the adventures of Superman. 12 dangerously radioactive diamonds, each the size of a hen's egg, have been smuggled into Metropolis. And an ex-convict called the Count, who smuggled the diamonds into the city, was himself overcome by their fatal rays. Then, before the police reached him, he was shot and killed by an unknown assailant identified simply as a red-headed Cockney who escaped with the diamonds. As the police combed the city for the red-headed man and his deadly loot, Clark Kent, who is Superman, Inspector Henderson, learned from a dealer in stolen property that a great many more radioactive diamonds were to be smuggled from an unknown source into the United States through secret channels. As we continue now, Kent has just arrived at police headquarters, where he was ushered immediately into the office of Inspector Henderson.
Oh, hello, Kent.
Any luck yet, Inspector?
Only bad luck.
Uh-oh.
I've got every man on my staff working on this case. But they haven't been able to find that red-headed Cockney, and neither has the FBI.
Too bad. But listen, Inspector.
I'm worried, Kent. You know that Cockney's loose with 11 of those radioactive diamonds?
Yeah, I know. We can forget them for the moment.
Forget them? When anyone who's exposed to those rocks is a dead pigeon? You kidding?
No, it's the other diamonds that I'm concerned about.
What other diamonds?
The smaller ones that the Count said were going to be smuggled into the country in large numbers. They'll undoubtedly be coated with a lead film like the big ones were to keep them harmless until the fences sell them. But when that coating cracks,
people will be dropping like flies all over the country.
That's right. We must find out where those stones come from.
Okay, I'll buy that. But how do we do it?
Well, Count was an agent for the diamond people, so we might be able to trace them through him.
Oh, fine. But just in case you've forgotten, Kent, the Count is dead.
I know that, but there may be some clue to his principal, some name or address or something, somewhere in his possession.
Don't you think I look?
Sure. But would you mind if I had a look?
Okay, come along and have a look. I went through those suits myself, Kent. Well, you won't find anything in the pocket.
Oh, I'm sure I won't. You say so, Inspector.
Well, then what are you wasting time for? Tell you there's nothing
Wait,
there.
Inspector. What's this?
What?
There's something behind the tailor's label in the lining of this jacket.
Behind it? Hey, are you out of your mind?
No, it's a tiny, thin piece of paper. 2 flights of steel or crackle. Here, wait, I'll tear off the label and show you.
Now, look here.
There, see? Here it is.
Well,
look, something written on it.
Yeah, but it's too small for me. What does it say?
There are 3 initials and a word. K-I-L, Shanghai.
K-I-L, Shanghai, huh? What does that mean?
I don't know yet. Shanghai is in the Far East, and the Count got the 12 diamonds in the Far East.
Maybe there's a connection. Give me that, Kent.
Sure, here you are.
Thanks. I'll take it up to the lab and have the boys go over it.
Good idea.
Tell me, Kent,
How in thunder did you ever find this tiny slip of paper under the label?
Oh, I've got pretty sharp eyes.
Now, don't tell me you saw it through that label. Well, you'd have to be Superman to do that.
Gosh, I never thought I'd have to fess up to being Superman.
Go on. You just had another one of your lucky hunches, and it paid off.
Yeah, I guess so.
Why, sure. Look, in case you want to know, Kent, that's why I let you hang around, see?
Oh, thanks.
Come on, we'll take this up to the lab, and I'll cable the initials to the police in Shanghai. It's a pretty thin clue, if it is a clue.
I'm sure it is. Since every minute counts, I'm going to follow it my way. So long, Inspector.
Out of these clothes. This is a job for Superman. With the help of Batman and Robin. There we are. All set. Now, out to their house. Up, and away! Now, get this, Batman. You too, Robin.
I'm listening.
Shoot, Superman. I've got to stay here to Metropolis and find that red-headed Cockney. Because he has those 11 radioactive diamonds, and everyone in the city is in danger until those stones are found and destroyed. Also, I believe he's a member of the Diamond Gang, so if I can find him...
I get it. Redhead will lead you to the gang.
Right.
Well, we'll help you find it.
No, Robin. I've got another idea for you and Batman.
Well, I think I can guess it. You want us to go to Shanghai and investigate from that end.
Right. You haven't much to go on, just the initials K-I-L. But they may be the initials of a big shot in the gang, perhaps somebody the Count was to contact. And they may lead you to the source of the radioactive diamond.
Could be. But how do we go about finding K-I-L?
Well, we might put an ad in the Shanghai papers. K-I-L, important you contact me regarding stones. Or something like that, huh?
Yeah, that's the idea. It just might pay off.
Well, what are we waiting for? Come on, Batman. We'll pack a toothbrush and roll out the bat plane.
Okay, Robin, let's go.
Oh, wait, fellas. Wait. Every minute counts, so... How about me zipping you out to Shanghai via the Superman Express?
Hey, that's an idea.
Wonderful. Which feet do you want, Batman? Under Superman's left or right arm?
You take your choice.
Up with this window. All right, now hang on, you two. I'll have you in Shanghai and then hop back to Metropolis in a few shakes. All set?
Superman loading to Shanghai at window 6.
Let her rip, chum. Here we go. Up, and away! Leaping through the window of Batman and Robin's house with the dynamic duo in his arms, Superman soars high into the air, then flashes away across the continent like a red and blue meteor, bound for distant Shanghai. We'll be back in a moment for the 10th climax of today's episode, so keep listening.
Gang, ever been to a swap shop? The sign above the shop window reads, "We buy, sell, or exchange anything." And in the store windows are almost everything under the sun. Candlesticks, rosary beads, an embroidered Chinese kimono, an old pair of shoes. And all day long, folks come into the store to make a good bargain. Sometimes a kid comes in to swap a sweater for a cowboy suit. And not long afterward, a young man takes the sweater in exchange for a shirt. And so it goes all over the world. Every minute of the day, someone is striking a bargain, trading something that he has for something he wants. Here in our country, we're especially lucky because we have so many more chances to make a good swap. We have all kinds of people from all parts of the world living here, and we can trade stories and songs and customs with them. When most Americans first came to this country, they couldn't speak English and they didn't know the ways of our nation. But they wanted the freedoms America could give them, and so they were willing and anxious to learn. They made a swap with America in return for what they wanted more than anything else in the world: the right to say whatever they pleased, whether or not others agreed with them. The right to worship God as they pleased, whether or not it was the way most did. The right to do a job and to get a good home and have a good education. In return for these things, they would give their loyalty, their skills, the very best that they had to Uncle Sam. And that is how America got bridges and farms and automobiles and railways. And that is how millions of people got greater freedoms, more than they had ever known before.
And now, back to the adventures of Superman. It is late the following evening in Shanghai, and in their guises of Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson, we find Batman and Robin in a room of the King George Hotel in the International Settlement.
Oh, why doesn't something happen, Bruce?
Take it easy, Dick. The night is young.
Oh, sure. But our personal ad addressed to Mr. K.I.L. was in all the morning papers, and the evening ones, too. I expected Mr. K.I.L. to... Say, have you noticed that those initials spell kill?
A lovely thought. Anything else on your mind?
Yes. I thought Mr. Kill would be on our doorstep hours ago, panting to hear us give out about the Count and his diamonds.
Frankly, so did I. But it's just possible that we're barking up the wrong tree.
Oh? Elucidate.
Well, Robin, that slip of paper Superman found in the Count's coat may mean nothing.
so far as this case is concerned. The initials may not even be those of a man.
Oh, aren't we jolly tonight?
Well, it could be. Let's face it.
Perish this, though. I didn't come all the way out.
Hold it, Dick. That's the phone.
Uh-oh, maybe it's KIL. I'll take it.
No, let me.
Oh, well, hold the receiver a little away from your ear so I can hear it, too.
Okay. Quiet now. Hello? Yes, this is Wayne. Who's calling, please?
This is KIL.
Yes?
I believe you have some important information. Is that correct?
And how, Brother?
Yes, I have. About the Count and the, you know.
I understand. You are a friend of the Count.
Well, let's say he and I are in business together.
That's telling him.
Something's happened, and, well, I've got to talk to you as soon as possible. Now, where and when can I see you?
Listen closely, and I'll tell you. Outside your hotel, you will find several rickshaws waiting. On the seat of one of them, you will see a single yellow robe. Take that rickshaw. The driver will bring you to me.
I see. Well, just where are you?
That you will discover when you arrive, Mr. Wayne.
Uh-oh.
You will come alone, of course, except for your young companion.
Well, how did you know?
How did I know you have a companion with you?
Well, I was going to ask that, but I can guess. You looked us over before you phoned.
Perhaps. You will leave at once, please. Any delay will cancel our arrangement. Bye.
Goodbye.
Well, what do we do?
We find the rickshaw with the yellow rose, of course, and climb in.
But it may be a trap, Bruce.
It may indeed, sonny boy, but we've got to take the chance if we're going to get on the trail of those radioactive diamonds. Now, let's go.
Fully realizing that they may be walking into a trap, Batman and Robin leave their hotel room to follow the directions of the mysterious K.I.L. Who is this man? Is he aware that Batman and Robin, in their guises of Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson, are on the side of the law? And is he leading them into danger? We'll find out in tomorrow's thrilling episode, so be sure to listen. Tune in, same time, same station, for Chapter 12 of The Secret of Meteor Island on The Adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC Comics magazine and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time. Watch for the Superman Adventure serial soon to be shown at your local movie theater. This program came from New York. Stay tuned to your Mutual for Adventure Parade, which follows in just a moment. And right after Adventure Parade, you'll hear Tom Mix and his Ralston Straight Shooters. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with amazing physical powers far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, wages a never-ending battle for truth and justice. Today, in an effort to help Superman track down the origin of the radioactive diamond, Batman and Robin are in a rickshaw, being pulled through a dark street in Shanghai, China, when Batman senses danger.
Robin.
What's up, Batman?
Don't look now, but there's a rickshaw right behind us with two very ugly customers in it.
How interesting. So what?
Now, don't be flip. They've been following us ever since we left the hotel.
Uh-oh, are you sure?
I'm positive. What's more, something tells me we're headed for trouble. So get set.
So he said, so she said, so they said, so we said, yatta yatta yatta. Some people keep talking. They never stop talking. People like that should be shot. The things that they say never come to an end. They don't stop for breath or for thought. They'll repeat just like records again and again the tidbits of gossip they've caught. They never will think, is it true what I say? Is it something I ought to repeat? Instead, they'll just giggle and whisper to you, have you heard Johnny Jones? These jerks pick up everything nasty they hear. They never say somebody's swell. But, brother, if once you do anything wrong, you can bank on it. These guys will tell. They come up with some of the strangest remarks. They must have the brains of a pigeon. You should hear the ridiculous things that they say about other folks' race or religion. They know that the way that we worship our God doesn't make any difference down deep. That a regular Joe is a regular Joe, and a creep, well, he's still just a creep. But facts never stop dopes from babbling on. The truth might not have as much zip. They'd much rather sell you some nice, juicy lies. Stay away from this bunch. Take our tip. For you can be sure as can possibly be that your name is somewhere on their list, that they've got gossip to tell about you. There's no chance that you're going to be missed. So never be sucker enough to believe the gossip of yatter to yatters. They never know anything you'll want to hear. And believe me, nothing they say, after all, really matters.
And now, the adventures of Superman. Discovering a clue which led him to believe that Shanghai, China is the source of the deadly radioactive diamonds that threaten American lives, Superman carried the famous Batman and Robin there to investigate, then returned to Metropolis to continue his search for an agent of the gang. Then Batman inserted a personal ad in the Shanghai papers, intimating he had important information for the diamond smugglers. And that evening, he received a phone call from a mysterious man who, identifying himself merely by the initials K.I.L., said,
Outside your hotel, you will see a rickshaw with a single yellow rose on the seat. Sit in it and say nothing. The rickshaw man will bring you to me.
Fully realizing they may be stepping into a trap, Batman and Robin, in their guises of Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson, nevertheless got into the rickshaw with the yellow rose. And as we join them now, the rickshaw man, a tall, barefooted Chinese, is pulling them swiftly through a dark, almost deserted street near the water.
What's the matter, Dick? Why so pensive? Worried?
Well, no, not exactly, Bruce. I was just thinking we're pretty greedy.
Greedy? What do you mean?
Well, we're hogging the whole show. Why not stop and pick up a few husky Shanghai cops? They could have some fun, too, and might help us come out of this adventure with our skins whole.
Are you kidding? If we picked up even one cop, Mr. Rickshaw Man would undoubtedly take a powder, and we'd never hear from Mr. K.I.L. Kill again. Catch?
Oh. Well, why couldn't we stop to buy a package of gum or something? And meanwhile, put in a phone call to the police to get on our trail.
We don't dare do that for the same reason we didn't dare do it in the hotel. We're being watched.
Well, how do you know?
When K.I.L. called up this evening, he knew you were with me.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
So chances are he was sizing us up all day before he decided it was safe to phone.
I get it.
And besides, take a quick look behind you.
I'm looking.
Now, what do you see?
Too dark to see much. Wait, there's a rickshaw back there.
Right.
Two big, ugly-looking customers in it.
Yes, aren't they? Well, it may interest you to know that they've been trailing us ever since we left the hotel. And I'm inclined to think they're covering our rear for Mr. K.I.L.
Uh-oh.
Either that
or what?
Well, K.I.L. just might have discovered we aren't the underworld characters we're pretending to be, and Barefoot Boy, this rickshaw lad, just might be heading us for an ambush party in some nice dark spot.
Well, how interesting.
Hey, stop. Heads up, Dick.
I'm ready, Bruce.
The other rickshaw stopped, too.
Here comes Barefoot Boy. What gives, bud?
You red rickshaw, follow me, please.
Follow you? Where?
Master, wait. Sampan.
Sam, who?
He's pointing to that big sampan. Chinese for a sort of houseboat. See, it's tied up in the river below.
Oh. Looks mighty dark and lonesome down there.
Maybe we can persuade Mr. K.I.L. to put up a big neon sign. You know, dangerous radioactive diamonds smuggled here.
Ha, very funny.
All right, come on, let's go.
Those characters in the other rickshaw are getting out, too, Bruce.
Well, if we're going to have a party, the more the merrier. But be ready to jump fast.
Oh, you know me, Grasshopper Grayson.
You come.
Lead on, Barefoot Boy.
With every sense alert, Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson follow their barefooted Chinese guide down a steep bank to the wide, blackish river. Clouds hide the moon and dim the stars. But scattered over the inky water are pinpoints of light like glowworms, faintly outlining the bulky shadows of various river crafts. The narrow plank leads from the muddy shore to the large, darkened houseboat. And Bruce and Dick follow the rickshaw man up the plank to the narrow deck which circles the covered boat. Several men, their eyes gleaming in the darkness, glance impassively at the two Americans as they follow their guide to a door where he knocks. And then steps aside to let them enter a large cabin, luxuriously appointed in silks and jade in the Oriental manner. But the man who rises to greet his visitors is not an Oriental. He is a white man in a white linen suit, well set up, a bit on the beefy side. His face is round and pink with small features like a baby's. His eyes, however, of a washed-out blue and, strangely, almost without lashes, are hard and cold as chilled steel.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Roger Kilburn.
I'm Bruce Wayne, and this is my friend Dick Grayson.
I know that. Now, what is the information you have for me, Mr. Wayne?
Well, first off, Mr. Kilburn, you might be interested to know the Count is dead.
The Count? Dead?
Yes, he was shot.
Right after the Metropolis police discovered the diamonds he was peddling were radioactive.
The police know that?
Yes.
The lead coating you put on the diamonds cracked, and the rays put half a dozen people in the hospital. They affected the Count, too, and he was on his way to the hospital when a red-headed man, a Cockney, shot him and got away with the diamonds.
Well, this is bad news. Very bad news.
Well, that's why Dick and I came out here as fast as we could, Mr. Kilfern. We wanted to tell you what was going on.
In case you didn't know, that is.
Oh, I know. No, I didn't.
You see, the Count told us you had a whole slew of those diamonds, and we wanted to warn you to go slow on smuggling them into the United States right now. At least till the heat is off.
I see. So, the Count told you I had a lot of diamonds.
Yes. He did a lot of business with Dick and me.
Well, yeah, we were great pals.
Well, it was certainly fine of you fellows to come all the way out here to tell me this.
Well, we weren't doing it just as a favor, Mr. Kilfern.
You mean you want me to pay you?
No, I mean we want a pinch hit for the Count.
How's that?
The Count said you were going to distribute the rest of the diamonds in smaller sizes. Now, we want to handle the deal for you, Mr. Kilfern, after the heat dies down a little, of course.
Oh, you do, Wade?
Yes. I'm confident we can get them into the United States, all right, and we've got just as good connections with the fences there as the Count has.
That's right. Maybe even better.
Aren't you boys worried about the radioactivity of the stone?
Well, we figure that you can put that lead coating on so it sticks this time, Mr. Kilfern, and it oughtn't to be so dangerous anyhow on small stones.
That's right.
Well, I do need somebody to take the Count's place, and you boys seem to be very clever.
Then we're in.
Well, I'm just... come in, excuse me. Master, what is it, thing?
You, what a giant.
Boy, Lee, bring this, master. Let's have it.
Well, looks as if we put it over, huh, Bruce?
Could be, Dick, but this Kilfern here is a smooth customer, so I'm not placing any bets.
Well, I rather thought so.
Huh?
Thought what, Mr. Kilfern?
When? I have a surprise for you. For you, young man.
A surprise?
Huh?
Yes, a big surprise. But I don't think you're going to like it.
What does Kilfern mean? We'll be back in a moment to find out in the startling climax of today's episode. So keep listening.
It was February 1943 off the coast of Greenland. The churning sea tossed the torpedoed soldiers around like empty bottles bobbing in the waves as they took one last look at their sinking ship, the SS Dorchester. What they saw, they will never forget. For there on the deserted deck, already awash, stood their 4 chaplains, beloved by every man among them. Bravely they stood, looking squarely into the face of death, with their arms linked together and their heads bowed. Each chaplain had given his life belt to a GI who did not have one. And now the 4 men, 2 of them Protestants, 1 Catholic, and 1 Jewish, stood together, their hands linked in eternal friendship, as they raised their voices to pray. Then the ship shook with a violent shudder and silently slipped down into the unmeasured depths of the sea. Now, in commemoration of this deed of supreme heroism, our government has issued a new 3-cent stamp dedicated to the memory of these 4 chaplains. On the stamp is a picture of the sinking Dorchester, and grouped above it, the faces of Clark Poling and George Potts, Protestant ministers, John Washington, Catholic priest, and Alexander Good, Jewish rabbi. Across the stamp are the words, "These immortal chaplains, interfaith in action." Gang, this brotherhood stamp should be in every American home, so that the words inscribed on it can be a constant reminder to each and every one of us of the 4 immortal chaplains who gave their lives to demonstrate interfaith in action.
And now, back to the adventures of Superman.
In his luxurious cabin on his houseboat, Roger Kilfern stands beside the giant Chinese called Sing as he says to Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson,
I have a big surprise for you, Wayne. And for you, young man. But you're not going to like it.
What do you mean, Mr. Kilfern?
This note which Sting just brought to me is a transcript of a shortwave radio message from my agent in the United States.
Oh?
What about it?
It's an answer to an inquiry which I made this morning, Mr. Wayne, when your personal notice addressed to KIL appeared in the Shanghai papers. My agent reports that you, Mr. Wayne, are a millionaire and a friend of the Metropolis Police, and that you and Grayson came here as spies to trick me.
So lid's off. Come on, Bruce.
Hold it, Dick. I got guns.
Excellent advice, Mr. Wayne. King and I not only have guns, as you see, but also 6 of my men, all armed and alerted, are posted in the corridor outside this cabin.
Oh, brother.
Easy, boy.
You two were very clever. but not quite clever enough. So there is one task which you must perform for me. Then you will die.
Trapped, Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson, who are really Batman and Robin, face the revolvers in the hands of Roger Kilburn and his giant Chinese servants, and see no chance to save themselves. There's a thrill a minute in tomorrow's exciting episode, fellows and girls, so be sure to listen. Tune in, same time, same station, for Chapter 13 of The Secret of Meteor Island on The Adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC Comics magazine and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time. Watch for the Superman Adventure serial, soon to be shown at your local movie theater. This program came from New York. Stay tuned to your Mutual station for Adventure Parade, which follows in just a moment. And right after Adventure Parade, you'll hear Tom Mix and his Ralston straight shooters. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with amazing physical powers far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, wages a never-ending battle for truth and justice. Today, Superman is unaware that in the cabin of a houseboat on a river near Shanghai, China, his friends Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson, who are really Batman and Robin, face the guns of Roger Kilburn and a giant Chinese.
Easy with those guns, Kilburn. They might go off.
They might indeed, Mr. Wayne. Particularly since I'm aware now that you and your young companion are spies.
For us?
Yes. You're working with the United States Police.
Well, what are you going to do about it?
I have first a small task for you to perform, Mr. Wayne. After that, well, I'm certain I need tell you no more.
Gang, the swimming season is right around the corner. Soon the old swimming holes, the lakes, and the ocean beaches will have new fish added to them. Human fish who dive and duck in the water as if they had fins instead of mere arms and legs. Well, as you know, swimming is good for you, and it's fun, too. Also, it's not dangerous if you use your head. But too many accidents happen every summer. Accidents that don't have to happen. So here are some tips on how to take care of yourself in the water. Some swimming know-how suggested by Soichi Sakamoto, a young Japanese-American who is considered one of the greatest swimming coaches in the world. Tip number 1. When you get in trouble, keep calm. A panicky swimmer gets stiff and heavy, and that means he becomes sinkable. What's more, it's well to remember that the average good swimmer can keep afloat longer than he can keep walking on dry land without stopping to rest, that is. And the inexperienced swimmer can usually float around until help arrives. For instance, if your boat capsizes way out in the middle of the lake, don't get excited and try to swim all the way to shore. Keep cool and hang on to the boat until rescuers come. So just keep your head and you'll be okay. Plain common sense is your best lifesaver. Tip number 2. If you ever get caught in a strong current or undertow, don't fight it. Keep in mind that it won't and can't drag you to the bottom. Let yourself go and permit the current to pull you until it's spent. Then strike out diagonally toward shore. Gang, later in this program, we'll give you some more vital pointers from Soichi Sakamoto, ace swimming coach. So be sure to listen. And now, the adventures of Superman. While Superman searched Metropolis for the agent of a gang which has been smuggling deadly radioactive diamonds into the country, Batman and Robin took up the search for the source of the amazing diamonds in Shanghai, China. There, posing as members of the underworld, they contacted a man named Roger Kilburn, who appeared to be a leader of the gang. And then they stepped into trouble. For during a rendezvous with Kilburn on his houseboat, the fat smuggler received a radio message from an agent in the United States who revealed that Bruce and Dick were working with the police. Drawing a gun, Kilburn said,
"You were clever, Mr. Wayne, but not clever enough. Now, I'm going to finish you and Grayson.
Meanwhile, thousands of miles away in Metropolis, Superman, disguised as reporter Clark Kent, was in conference with Police Inspector Henderson.
Hello, Inspector. Dropped in to see if you'd received any word from the Shanghai police.
Oh, not yet, Kent. Not a word.
No, I haven't heard from Batman and Robin either. What about our Limehouse friend?
Who's that?
You know, the fellow who shot the Count before he could talk and got away with the diamonds? The red-headed Cockney.
Oh, him?
Yes, I think he knows where the stones are coming from.
Sure, I think so, too. But so far, we haven't been able to pick him up.
Uh-oh. We've got to find him, Inspector, and find him fast. Because, as you know, before the Count died, he said that a great many more radioactive diamonds would be smuggled into the United States.
I know.
And unless we prevent that, the whole country will be in danger.
Don't you think I know that, Kent? I've got every man in the department looking for that Cockney.
Well, then...
And I haven't had a wink of sleep in 2 days.
Neither have I, but I still...
Well, he couldn't have slipped out of Metropolis. We've been watching every road, every bridge, every ferry boat, every train, and every bus. So he must be holed up somewhere in the city.
If you're right about that, Inspector, I'll find him.
You will?
Yes. I've gone over the city in the last few hours, but I've only searched the most likely places where crooks might be expected to hide out. Now I'll give it the full treatment.
Say, what are you talking about, Kent?
Maybe I'll tell you about it sometime, Inspector, but not now. I'll see you later.
Out of these clothes. Searching every room, every building, every stick and stone in Metropolis for that Cockney
is a job for Superman. And as tough a job as any I've ever tackled. But it's got to be done. There we are, all set. Now, up, and away! Leaping high into the sky, Superman streaks away in his Herculean task of searching every inch of the giant city for the red-headed Cockney, unaware that his friends Batman and Robin hold the key to the secret he seeks and are in dire peril of their lives. For at this moment, thousands of miles across the world, the dynamic duo in their guises of Bruce Wayne and young Dick Grayson stand in the luxurious cabin of Roger Kilfern's houseboat, held at bay by the guns of Kilfern and his giant Chinese henchmen.
Watch them closely, Zing. If they make one move, shoot to kill.
Yes, master.
If you and your big boy drop your guns, Mr. Kilfern, we can have it out man to man, 2 against 2. How about it?
You're very amusing, Grayson.
I'll show you how amusing I can be if you'll put your hardware away.
Cut it, Dick. Now look, Kilfern, you said you had a little job for us to do. Does that mean you want to make a deal?
Call it what you like, Mr. Wayne. Do what I want, and I'll promise you a quick, painless death.
How generous of you.
But if you refuse, you'll die slowly and painfully.
How do you like this guy, Bruce? Listen, you...
Be quiet, Dick. What do you want us to do, Kilfern?
I want you to write a letter to the chief of police in Metropolis, telling him that the clue which brought you to Shanghai turned out to be worthless.
What?
I get it. You want to arrange things so that they rule out Shanghai as the source of the radioactive diamond. Is that it?
Well, not exactly. You see, Mr. Wayne, Shanghai is not the source of the diamond. It is the shipping point. But your reasoning is close enough.
Where do the diamonds come from?
From an island.
An island? What island?
That can't possibly make any difference to you.
By
No.
the same token, it can't hurt to tell me now, either, can it?
We're wasting time, Wayne. I want to send your letter to the Metropolis Police tonight, by airmail. You will say in your own handwriting that the Shanghai clue was a false lead, and that you and Grayson are returning to the United States at once.
Do you really think we'd do that?
That won't save your neck, Kilfern. When we don't show up in Metropolis, our friends will swarm down here and turn Shanghai inside out. They'll find the truth and you.
And your goose will be cooked.
Not at all. Shanghai is well known for its many unsavory characters. It'll be quite simple to make it appear that you were killed by thieves. Now, if you will just write that letter.
Bruce, you're not...
Wait, Dick. You will find pen, ink, and paper on the desk, Mr. Wayne. Right over here.
Tell them where to get off, Bruce. Go on.
I'm waiting, Mr. Wayne. Believe me, you will be much better off to do as I say.
Go on. I wouldn't believe you in a stack of Bibles.
Dick, I think I'd better write that letter.
What? Well, you're kidding, Bruce.
No, Mr. Wayne is much wiser than you are, Grayson. Come, Wayne. The mail plane leaves in an hour.
Don't do it, Bruce. Please don't.
I've got to, Dick. Stand by for action.
Oh, okay.
No tricks now. Remember, Sting and I have you covered.
Relax. I know when I'm licked. Where's the pen and ink?
Right here. There's paper on the desk.
Okay. Now, you want me to address the letter to the Metropolis Chief of Police, right?
Right. Tell him that...
I know what to tell him. I'll just move this thing, if you don't mind, at the same time.
Oh,
Let's go, Dick.
Yeah, man, the old flying tacking.
Shoot them down.
Take your turn, Dick. I've got big guns.
Well, that takes care pair of them.
Nice work, Dick.
Thanks, Pappy. Well, what now?
Well, let's get... Oh, here comes more of Kilfern's gang. Douse the light, Dick.
Right. It's down.
Up and at him, Dick.
Right, Pappy. Here, pal, have a sleeping pill.
Yeah, finish going, buddy. Dick, what's the knife?
Right.
Fighting like wildcats, Batman and Robin wade into the ferocious pack of Kilfern's men who flash knives and pistols in the darkness. We'll be back in a moment for the tense climax of today's episode. So keep listening.
Gang, it isn't often you get a chance to learn about swimming from a man who turns out world champion. But Soichi Sakamoto, top-flight Japanese-American swimming coach, has given us some tips and water wisdom, so lend an ear. Never, warns Mr. Sakamoto, go into the water right after you've eaten. Always rest 2 hours after a meal before going in to swim. Because if you go in too soon after having packed away a big lunch, you may get cramps that will double you up and make you completely helpless, even if you're a good swimmer. Here's another tip. Build yourself up gradually. Don't wham into the water right at the beginning of the season and start doing tricks. Remember that you haven't done any swimming all year, so just take your time. Save your showing off for late July or August. Otherwise, you might wind up giving a performance for Davy Jones. And finally, always use the buddy system. Don't go out alone. Swim together with someone who is a strong swimmer. In that way, in case something happens to you, your buddy will be there to catch hold and give you a hand. And naturally, that works vice versa, too. It's safer and smarter to go with someone you can help and who can help you when the going gets tough. After all, the buddy system works all through life. Why not in swimming, too? We need buddies in almost everything we do. Lend a hand and get a hand. That's how it works. And just as we are better and happier because of our buddies, so is our country the better for friendly cooperation among all its people. For when America's citizens of every race and religion help each other and work together, America becomes even greater. So, gang, go buddies in swimming and buddies in living. It's a system that always works out best for everyone.
And now, back to the adventures of Superman. Knocking out Roger Kilfern and Sing, his giant Chinese, Batman and Robin switched off the light in the houseboat cabin as a half-dozen of the smuggler's Oriental henchmen swarm into the cabin, flashing knives and guns.
How are we doing, Bruce?
Good enough. Watch that gun, Dick.
I'll take this, baby.
And I'll take this one like this.
Hey, I've run out of sparring partners, Bruce.
Oh, bye. Wait a minute. Let's switch on the light.
Oh, well, bless my soul, Colonel Wing. Look at all them darling little cutthroats sleeping so peaceful-like on the floor.
Cute, aren't they? Now, what's the matter? Dick, where's Kilfern?
Why, I don't see him.
Come on, we've got to find him. Out on the deck. Hey, we drifted out into the river.
Uh-huh, but I still don't see Kilfern.
No, he must have come out during our scrap with those other rats and... Hey, Dick, look out there.
Where?
Over there. That man's swimming. He's almost ashore. See him?
Yeah. Hey, that's Kilfern.
Right. We can't let him get away. Strip down to your costume, Robin. We're going after him.
Right.
We've got to get him because he knows where those radioactive diamonds come from.
Yeah.
I'm all set. How about you?
All set, Batman.
Let's go then. Dive in and swim like mad.
Look out, fish. Here I come.
Diving from the houseboat, Batman and Robin swim furiously toward the dark shore in pursuit of the fat smuggler of the deadly radioactive diamond. Batman and Robin have escaped death, but will Kilfern now escape with the secret that threatens to endanger the entire United States? And what will come of Superman's relentless search for Kilfern's agent in Metropolis? There's rapid-fire action, suspense, and surprises in tomorrow's exciting episode, fellows and girls, so be sure to listen. Tune in, same time, same station, for Chapter 14 of The Secret of Meteor Island on The Adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC Comics magazine and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time. Watch for the Superman Adventure serial, soon to be shown at your local movie theater. This program came from New York. Stay tuned to your mutual station for the Adventure Parade, which follows in just a moment. And right after Adventure Parade, you will hear Tom Mix and his Ralston Straight Shooters. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with amazing physical powers far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, wages a never-ending battle for truth and justice. Today, Batman and Robin wish fervently but vainly for the presence of Superman, as, in imminent peril of their lives, they dangle from the pontoon of a speeding amphibian plane high above the Pacific Ocean.
Hang on tight, Robin. I am, but this wind is pretty strong. Uh-oh. What's the matter, Batman?
Feels like the pilot's trying to shake us off. And if he does, we're a pair of dead pigeons.
Gang, do you know that if you live to be 70 or over, chances are you'll spend at least 20 of those years asleep? Do you know that 7 out of those 70 years will be spent walking and playing and sports? That 5 months of your life will be taken up in tying shoelaces and 7 years going to the movies or theater? What's more, 1 whole year will be spent gabbing on the telephone. And furthermore, if you live to be 70, you'll probably spend 2.5 of those years eating and another 2.5 chewing gum. And just for the record, you'll be kept waiting for 3 years and spend 4 hours a year wiping your nose. Well, now, how do you like that? Pretty strange, isn't it, to see our everyday doings boil down to cold mathematics? But one thing is good about cold mathematics. It helps us to see things clearly. After all, if you spend 20 years sleeping, just to give an example, you'll want to make sure you get the most out of the rest of the time when you're awake. And one way to make that part of your life the best possible is to have good friends. Too many of us take our friends for granted or just don't bother taking the time to make friends. Yet anyone who has ever had a real good pal can vouch for the fact that there's no one better than a fellow or girl who sticks by you through thick and thin. The people who are lucky enough to have such friends are also smart enough to know that friendship can't be based on such unimportant things as the amount of money a fellow has, or the kind of house he lives in, or the church or synagogue he goes to, or where his folks came from. They don't bother wrinkling their brains over such trifles. Instead, they make and keep good friends. How about all of us doing the same and having the time of our lives?
And now, the adventures of Superman. Deadly radioactive diamonds, which are being smuggled into the United States and endangering the entire nation, are the objects of a desperate hunt by Superman, the famous Batman and Robin, and the police. While Superman searches every inch of Metropolis for an agent of the smuggling gang, Batman and Robin followed a clue to Shanghai, China, where they caught up with a leader of the gang named Roger Kilfern, whose headquarters were in a houseboat on a river. In the furious fight which followed, Kilfern escaped and had almost reached the shore when Batman and Robin sighted him and dove into the river after him. Swimming the river, the dynamic duo scrambled up a steep bank in the darkness. Now, on a narrow road flanked by the Black River on one side and the woods on the other, they see the bulky, white-garbed Kilfern far ahead, escaping in a swiftly drawn rickshaw.
Look, Robin, there goes Kilfern in that rickshaw.
I see him, Batman.
Come on, after him.
Right. Can you see how many guys are pulling his cart?
Just one. They got a good start. We'll get them.
Well, listen.
Save your breath and run. Come on.
Hey, I don't see Kilfern anymore.
You will. As soon as we make that turn in the road. We're gaining on him. Now, wait a minute. Hold up, Robin.
What's the matter? What are we stopping for?
Kilfern isn't on the road.
Well, then he must be up ahead someplace.
Look, you take the river side of the road. I'll take the wood side. Keep moving ahead. Keep your eyes peeled for the rickshaw. Now, let's go. How you doing, Robin?
Okay, but I could use a brighter moon, Batman. It's pretty dark.
Well, you'll have to get along with the moon we have.
I suppose so. So far, I can see nothing but a lot of black river and some lightning bugs. How about you?
Yeah, same here.
I hate to admit it, Pappy, but I think the fat gent gave us a slip.
Wait a minute. I see something. Slow down.
What do you see? Where?
Over there. The edge of the woods. Come on, follow me. Here we are. Look, Robin.
A rickshaw.
Yeah, an empty one. Kilfern and his rickshaw boy ditched it here
and took to the woods. Oh, brother. Now we'll really have a sweet time finding him.
Yeah, I'm afraid so. Wait a minute, Robin. Robin, there's a trail here.
There is?
Yeah. See? It goes through the woods.
Hey, what's that?
Sounds like a plane engine.
A plane engine?
Yeah. Straight ahead and up this trail.
But a plane in the woods? How can that be?
I don't know, but we're going to find out. Step on it, Robin.
Step on it yourself. I'm breathing down your neck.
Great Lucifer. Look.
Holy smokes. An airstrip out in the woods.
Yeah. And that's Kilfern climbing into a plane. Come on, boy. We got to stop him before he gets away.
I'm afraid we're too late.
Maybe not.
But the plane is starting to take off. How are we going to...
The pontoon. Latch onto it.
What?
Yeah, we've got to. We can't lose Kilfern.
But they're taking off. We can't make it.
Quick. Jump and grab the pontoon.
Okay, Pappy. Here I go.
We made it, Robin. We're hanging on.
Yeah, but for how long?
Hurling themselves through the air, Batman and Robin seize the steel support of the amphibian's pontoon and are borne aloft, dangling from their precarious position. As they cling for life, the plane zooms out over Shanghai Harbor, still climbing, then straightens out and heads out over the dark, endless sea far below. As the wind rips at them, striving to tear them from their dangerous perch, Batman and Robin each slip a leg over the pontoon, then, straining desperately against the rushing wind, pull themselves to a sitting position, and there lash themselves with their ropes. But then, suddenly...
What's the matter, Batman?
Feels like the pilot is trying to shake us off.
Christopher Columbus. We're dead pigeons.
Don't be too sure. You may not be able to because we're lashed on.
Oh, boy. Here's hoping.
Well, so far, so good.
You stopped trying, Batman.
Well, that's a relief.
Say, where do you suppose Kilfern and company are headed for?
For the island he spoke of, I hope.
You mean the one where he said the radioactive diamonds come from?
Uh-huh. Kilfern knows he can't use Shanghai as a shipping point anymore. Now we're on to him, so he comes.
What the...
Hang on, Robin.
I am. What gives?
I think we hit an air pocket. The weather's getting rougher, too. We better save our breath and just hang on.
Yeah. This is getting pretty rugged.
How you doing, Robin?
I'm stiff as a board, thank you. But I'm glad that storm blew out. Hey, look, Batman. I see land up ahead.
Yeah, you're right, Robin. Looks as if it might be an island.
That's what it is, all right. Seems to be a funny hump on it. Uh-oh, we're starting down.
Yeah.
You think that's Kilfern's Island?
Could be. We're heading down to it, all right. Get your rope untied, Robin. Hurry.
Check. Oh, doggone it. The storm got the knot wet.
Hurry up and get it untied. If we're still on this perch when the plane sits down, that's all, brother.
You're telling me. There, I've got it.
Good. Now get set now.
For what?
We're going to make sure the plane is going to land on the island. And if it does, we'll bail out into the sea.
Yes, me. At this height and speed, and without parachutes, that's suicide.
We're pretty good acrobats, Robin. If we go in head first, or feet first, we'll have a chance.
Some chance. If I were an insurance agent, I'd never write a policy for you, Batman. Or for me.
Cut the kid. Now get ready.
All set, Tubby.
Okay. Now hold it till I give the word. And then let go and pray.
Don't worry.
Okay. Now, let go, Robin.
Releasing their hold, Batman and Robin plummet down toward the Black Sea and rushing surf far below, tumbling wildly head over heels as they fall. We'll be back in a moment for the startling climax of today's episode. So keep listening.
In one of their shows, gang, the famous funny men, Olson and Johnson, used to play a little trick on their audience. In a darkened theater, they'd suddenly announce that a lot of spiders had broken loose. Then suddenly, little objects would start dropping from the ceiling into the orchestra and balcony. People would scream and wiggle around until the house lights went up again. Then they'd sit back and look sheepishly at each other, for they'd see that what they imagined were spiders were nothing but little beings. They were all taken in by what we call the power of suggestion. And that same power of suggestion can be used by unscrupulous individuals in a way that's far from harmless. Because just as imagination can make beings feel like spiders, so can prejudice give a wholly false impression of people. So when anyone tries to tell you that another individual is inferior or not to be trusted simply because he has a slight accent or because of the manner in which he worships God, it's time to turn lights on the truth revealed by science, which tells us that there is no master race, that no group has a monopoly on intelligence or good looks or honesty or charm. By meeting and observing all kinds of people yourself, you'll learn that in the really important things, they're no different from you are. They want to make friends like you do and enjoy the blessings of living in a free land like you do. When you can see that for yourself, gang, you won't let the power of suggestion play tricks on you.
adventures of Superman. Landing in the sea near an unknown island, Batman and Robin fought their way through a fierce surf. And now, as the first faint rays of the rising sun cast a thin light from the horizon, they wade out of the surf and up a pebbly beach. Above them, through thin, stunted trees and brush, they can make out three long, low houses like squat barracks, which are seemingly made of stone, but which gleam with a strange, iridescent glow. Before them, on a cleared strip of land, rests Roger Kilfern's plane. And as Batman and Robin leave the beach and move cautiously through the sparse brush toward the strange buildings, three men step out from one of them. In the faint light, they appear oddly dressed and grotesquely hooded.
Get back, Robin. Don't let them see us.
Okay, Batman. Hey, what are those three guys wearing?
It looks like deep sea diver suits.
What's the idea?
Search me and let...
Well, that's what?
I just thought of something, Robin. This is the island where the radioactive diamonds come from.
It must be.
Then those fellows may be wearing those garments to protect themselves from radioactivity.
Uh-oh. You mean...
I mean, if the diamonds are found here, this whole island may be radioactive. And we're being exposed to the rays.
Maybe that's why
The men are starting down this way. Come on, Robin, back to the beach. We'll swim around the island and... Robin, what are you sitting down for? What's the matter with you?
I don't know, Batman. I feel awfully weak.
Here, I'll give you a hand. Hey, I'm starting to feel weak, too. I can't stand up.
Batman, there's an orange circle coming out on your forehead.
What?
Yes. Just like on the people in Metropolis.
Great, Luce. There's one coming out on your forehead, too, Robin. It's the radioactivity.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's got us. Robin, I'm afraid we're done for.
Unable to move as the deadly radioactive rays steal the strength from their bodies, Batman and Robin can only wait helplessly for the approach of the three grotesquely garbed men. Don't miss tomorrow's thrill-packed episode, fellows and girls. Tune in, same time, same station, for Chapter 15 of The Secret of Meteor Island on The Adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC Comics magazine and is brought to you Monday through Friday at this same time. Watch for the Superman Adventure serials soon to be shown at your local movie theater. This program came from New York. Stay tuned to your mutual station for Adventure Parade, which follows in just a moment. And right after Adventure Parade, you'll hear Tom Mix and his Ralston Straight Shooters. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
It's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with amazing physical powers far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, wages a never-ending battle for truth and justice. Today, Superman still doesn't know that on a mysterious island in the Far East, his friends Batman and Robin are helpless against an enemy which they can neither see nor hear.
Batman, I feel weak. I can't stand up.
I can't either, Robin. Great Lucifer. There's an orange circle on your forehead.
An orange circle? Hey, there's one on your forehead, too. What goes on here?
It's the diamonds.
Diamonds? Yeah.
The radioactive diamonds. They're on this island.
Christopher, then we're done for, Batman.
Yeah, we're finished.
Gang, ever heard the famous old saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away? Of course, that's not necessarily true, but whether it's true or not, you'll agree that there are not many things more delicious than a nice, juicy apple. Picture a cool, crisp one in your hand right now. First, you polish the outside of the palm of your hand, then to run. You let your teeth sink in. You taste the cool sweetness of it. Man, oh man, that sure is good. Oh, now, hold on. This is not a commercial for apples. I'm just using apples to prove a point. Like this. Did you know that there are more than 7,500 varieties of apples grown in this country? Isn't that incredible? Now, my point is, who's to say one kind of apple is better than another? Sometimes you get a hankering for a sweet, fleshy one. Sometimes you want one with a tartar taste. Sometimes you want them for applesauce or apple pie.
It's all a matter of taste and occasion. Well, you know, it's pretty much the same with people. Why, I'll bet we have as many different kind of people in this country as we have apples. Different-looking people, different acting people, different-sounding people. And if they're all good citizens, you can't say one is better than another, because each has his own place in the community, his own, very own job to do. And actually, the variety of people is what makes and keeps this country strong and healthy. So remember, next time some joker talks about how he's better than someone else because of the way he happens to part his hair or something else just as ridiculous, remind him, he isn't the only apple in the barrel.
And now, the adventures of Superman. Superman and his famous friends Batman and Robin have been collaborating with the police to find the source of deadly radioactive diamonds which are being smuggled into the United States and endangering the entire population. Discovering a clue which pointed to Shanghai, China, Superman took Batman and Robin there to investigate, while he returned to Metropolis to search for an agent of the diamond smugglers. In Shanghai, Batman and Robin caught up with the leader of the smugglers, a man named Roger Kilfern, who, in an attempt to escape them, took off in his amphibian plane, unaware that the dynamic duo had followed him and were clinging to the plane's pontoon. Several hours later, as dawn was breaking, the plane approached an island and went down for a landing. Batman and Robin dove into the sea and swam to shore, where they discovered several low stone houses which gave off a strange gleam. Then they saw two men approaching who were dressed in grotesque costumes, not unlike divers' suits. At that moment, the dynamic duo became oddly weak. They were unable to stand up, and on each of their foreheads appeared an orange circle. Dismayed, Batman gasped.
I know the answer now, Robin. We're being exposed to radioactivity.
Radioactivity?
Yes. This is the island the diamonds come from. The whole place must be radioactive.
Well, what'll we do, Batman?
I don't know. If we could walk, get back into the sea, we'd get our strength back. But I can barely move.
I can't either. And those two guys are heading this way.
I know.
How come the radioactivity doesn't weaken them?
Oh, those baggy suits and hoods they're wearing must protect them from the rays.
Oh. Boy, is this a fine kettle of fish. The radioactivity doesn't finish us. Kilfern will.
Yeah, Hey, wait. Kilfern won't recognize us in our Batman and Robin costume.
Well, maybe not, but...
Oh, hold it, Robin. Here come those two lads. Now let me do the talking.
Take off your costume now, Kilfern. The rays can't get into this house. The walls are lined with lead.
So what? You said the rays could not escape from the first batch of diamonds that I sent to Metropolis with the Count. And look what happened. 6 people were near death there from radioactivity.
I know, but there was something wrong with the lead glass coating we put on the first batch. We've got it fixed up now, though, so the coating won't crack or melt for at least 6 months.
That's fine, Fox, but I'm afraid your efforts were in vain.
Why? 6 months is enough for us to unload all our diamonds. After that, who cares what happens?
Something's happened already. We've got to change our plans in a hurry.
Change our plans?
Exactly.
But why?
Because the police know we've been smuggling in the stones to the United States by way of Shanghai.
You're kidding.
Not at all. What's more, they know that I'm involved in the racket. That's why I flew out here today.
Holy smokes, how did they find out?
I don't know, but I had a close call in Shanghai last night with 2 young fellows named Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson, who are working with the Metropolis Police. I just managed to get away by the skin of my teeth.
Do they know about this island?
No, they don't.
Are you sure?
I'm positive that there's no way they could know.
What if the Count talked?
It's possible I had the Count rubbed out by Limehouse as soon as the police began looking for him.
But he might have talked before he died.
Forget the Count, Fox. He knew nothing about this island.
Okay. Now, what about your gang in Shanghai?
They don't know about the island either. But I'm hot now, Fox. So we can't use Shanghai as a base anymore.
Okay, then you better stay here. We'll find somebody else to unload the diamonds to the fences.
Hey,
and the...
Foxy.
What's up, Joe?
Close the door, fool.
Relax, Kilfern. What gives, Joe?
Well, they just found 2 guys on a beach here from the outside.
Why?
I don't know. They said their plane crashed in the ocean about an hour ago, and they swam ashore. They're wearing funny clothes, tight costumes, capes, hoods, masks, too.
Where are they, Joe?
Right outside in the tunnel. They couldn't move on account of radioactivity got to them, but we tied them up anyway.
Bring them in here.
Okay. Hey, Lou.
Yeah?
Foxy says to bring them guys in.
I don't like this, Fox. Our island is far off all the air lanes. How can they crash here?
We'll find out about that, Kilfern.
Hey, can't stand up, Foxy. Can we drop them right here?
Yeah, Joe.
Ah, let's... Oh! Most it's Batman and Rob.
Uh-oh. Look who's here, Robin.
Charlie Fox.
You know these two folks?
I'll say I know 'em. They sent me up to the big house one time. I always said I'd get 'em for that. And look, they walked right into my head.
But how did they get here? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I almost forgot that. Well, how about that, Batman? You got an answer ready?
Sure. We were flying back to the States from Hong Kong. And we got caught in a storm and blown off our course. Then our motors conked out and crashed into the sea. Oh, we saw this island, swam ashore.
And when we got ashore, we suddenly lost our strength. What gives on this island, Foxy?
You don't know, huh?
No, but I'm sure it's something crooked. You're mixed up in it.
Funny, Look, you know what radioactivity is, don't you, Batman?
Yes.
Well, that's what's the matter with you and Robin. You've been exposed to radioactivity.
What?
Huh? Not the real strong rays. They're over on the Meteor and in the Diamond Ball.
Meteor?
Diamond Ball?
Yeah, it's the prettiest sight you ever saw. A big concrete and lead ball full of diamonds. And all of them giving off enough radioactivity to wipe out a big city.
Sounds charming.
Yeah. Should be a very interesting thing to see.
Well, you're going to see for yourself, Batman. You and Robin.
Really?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we're going to put you in the Diamond Ball.
What?
Now, wait.
So take a good look quick when you get in there. On account of you won't be able to enjoy the sight. Not for long. Because the rays in there will finish you fast.
Now Batman and Robin are condemned to death in the vault of radioactive diamonds. What will happen? We'll be back in a moment for the 10th climax of today's episode. So keep listening.
Let's get back, gang, to the subject of apples and people. And let's see if each of us can't remember at least one time when we bit into a bad apple. You know the kind I mean. One that's beautiful on the outside, but when your teeth sink into it, ugh, phooey, there's a wormhole or maybe even a worm. Well, the only thing to do is spit it out as politely as possible and try another. But you don't say, down with apples. Nor do you say, I'll never eat another apple as long as I live. Because you know that if you did, you'd be an awful dope. You'd be depriving yourself of something you like, just because you happen to get one bad apple. Well, it's the same with people. Here we are, millions and millions of us, all in the same barrel, so to speak. Naturally, you're bound to find a few bad ones along with the good. But you shouldn't let the bad people spoil your liking for all people who look like him. Suppose, just for illustration, you find a freckle-faced guy you don't like. He's a bully, maybe, or he cheats when he plays games. Well, just on that account, you wouldn't think of saying, I hate all freckle-faced guys, all guys with freckles cheat, because you know that anybody who said that would be stupid. And yet there are stupid, bullish people who go around sizing up whole groups of people in terms of one guy they happen to meet. Maybe they've had an argument with a fellow whose race or religion happens to be different from their own. And right away they say, ixnay on every other guy of that same race or religion. It doesn't make sense, does it, gang? No, it doesn't. It doesn't make sense with people any more than it does with apples. Don't ever forget that.
And now, back to the adventures of Superman. Thousands of miles away from the island of radioactive diamonds, Superman, unaware of Batman and Robin's predicament, ranged through the sky above Metropolis, searching for Roger Kilfern's agent, the red-headed Cockney. Tirelessly for more than 24 hours, the Man of Steel had been cruising above the great city, now flashing in great art, now poised in curious flight, his keen eyes searching the endless skyscrapers, apartment buildings, mansions, and humble bungalows below him, hunting for the man he believes holds the key to the secret of the deadly diamond. Evening is falling again now, and Superman, high in the sunset-tinted clouds, is above the city limits.
Well, there's still no sign of my man. I've covered practically every inch of Metropolis. I know the police had the city ringed in tight, but he must have slipped out somehow. Well, I'm afraid I'm licked, so I might as well head back. Wait a minute. There's the red-headed man in the attic of that little bungalow. Yes, he answers the Cockney's description, all right. And there's a lead box on his table. The Cockney had the radioactive diamonds in a lead box. Well, this may be my man at last. Down through that open skylight. Down!
What the hell were you?
I'll tell you in a moment, my friend, and I'll apologize, too, if necessary. But first I want to look in this box, if you don't mind.
No, don't open it. No!
Ah, these are the radioactive diamonds.
How's the box goes into your killer's mouth?
So, you are the man I want, eh?
Hey, what's the...
Come on, talk and talk fast. Where did these diamonds come from?
Face to face with Roger Kilfern's murderous agent at last, what will Superman learn? Does the Cockney know the existence of the Diamond Island and its location? And if he doesn't, how can even Superman save the lives of Batman and Robin? What will happen? Monday's episode is packed with thrills, suspense, and exciting surprises, fellows and girls, so be sure to listen. Tune in Monday, same time, same station, for Chapter 16 of The Secret of Meteor Island on The Adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC Comics Magazine and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time. Watch for the Superman Adventure serial, soon to be shown at your local movie theater. This program came from New York. Stay tuned to your mutual station for Adventure Parade, which follows in just a moment. And right after Adventure Parade, you will hear Tom Mix and his Ralston Straight Shooters. This is a Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with amazing physical powers far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, wages a never-ending battle for truth and justice. Today in Shanghai, China, a police official gives Superman some bad news about his friends Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson, who are really Batman and Robin.
We have been able to account for Mr. Wayne and Grayson's movements last night, Superman.
Oh, fine. Where did they go, sir?
They left Shanghai on Roger Kilfern's plane.
On Kilfern's plane?
Yes. And I am sorry to say there is good reason to believe that no one will ever see them again.
In 1776, boys and girls, the United States was a small, weak nation fighting desperately for its very existence. The war for independence against all-powerful Great Britain was, to many onlookers, ridiculous. How could America ever hope to win? But to a few men in Europe, the fight for American independence became their fight. They wanted to see a real democracy established, a land where men of every race and religion could live together in peace. And they were willing to help that nation win its independence. They were willing to fight and even to die for so noble a cause. Accordingly, from France came the now famous Lafayette. From Poland, the great General Kosciuszko. Von Steuben came from Germany to drill our troops, and Pulaski from Poland soon joined his compatriots. From all over Europe came men who wanted to help a young democracy grow strong and independent. Well, we Americans have never forgotten them, nor have we forgotten the way they helped train our armies and plan our strategy. We know that we might not be free Americans today if these men had not come when they were so desperately needed. And in gratitude, now that our nation is strong, Americans often try to help other new democracies that are fighting for their lives. Colonel David Mickey Marcus was such an American. He had been a West Point graduate and a colonel in the United States Army. And last January, this famous fighter went to the new nation of Israel to help it join the ranks of democratic nations. At the end of this program, we'll tell you the thrilling story of Colonel Mickey Marcus in the land of Israel.
And now, the adventures of Superman. In Shanghai, China, where they were trying to discover who was smuggling deadly radioactive diamonds into the United States, Batman and Robin contacted a man named Roger Kilfern, who turned out to be a leader of the gang. The chase led them then to a distant Pacific island, the source of the strange diamonds, where Batman and Robin were captured by the gang and condemned to be placed in a lead-lined concrete vault with the highly radioactive gems. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away in Metropolis, Superman searched every inch of the great city. And finally, in the attic of a bungalow, he located the red-headed, ferret-faced agent of the smugglers, who whipped out a gun and leveled it at him.
I don't know who you are in them funny clothes, matey, but you seem to know about the diamonds.
So I'm going to blow your blinking head off.
Don't make me laugh.
All right. Remember, you asked for it.
Surprise?
The bullet bounced right off you.
Right. Now, before someone comes to investigate those shots, I'll take the box of diamonds, and you...
Put me down. Let go.
We'll go high up into the sky where we can have a quiet little talk.
Please.
Up through that skylight. Up, and away! Well, nice view of the city from up here, isn't it?
Don't drop me, Mr. Whoever you are.
I won't if you'll talk and talk fast. Where do those radioactive diamonds come from?
I don't know.
It's a long way down to Earth. Want to go down alone?
No, don't drop me.
Then talk. Where do those diamonds come from?
Well, all I know is they come from some island.
An island? What island?
I don't know. That's all Mr. Kilfern told me to say help me.
Does this Kilfern operate in Shanghai?
Aye, that's right. Now,
My
please.
hunch about that clue I found on the count was right. What's your name?
Limehouse, they call me. But listen, I didn't do nothing wrong, mister. Honest.
Quiet. Are there any other radioactive diamonds in the country apart from the ones in this box?
Not yet, there ain't. But Mr. Kilfern is going to send us more in.
Oh, he is, eh?
Yes. You see, I told you all I know, mister. I'm cooperating, I am. Now take me down and let me go. That's a good chap.
Are you kidding? I'm taking you to police headquarters.
No,
Then
no.
I'm going to join Batman and Robin in Shanghai and pick up Mr. Kilfern.
I don't...
Away!
Speaking to police headquarters, Superman leaves the cowed Limehouse and the diamonds, then rockets away again across the continent and over the Pacific to Shanghai, China. A short time later, having resumed his disguise of reporter Clark Kent, Superman, frowning worriedly, is closeted with Commissioner Lee of the Shanghai Police.
Can't understand it, Commissioner. The clerk at the King George Hotel tells me that Batman... I mean, Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson walked out of the hotel night before last and haven't come back yet.
Yes, Mr. Kent. That is so.
Well, I thought perhaps Bruce and Dick might already have caught up with Roger Kilfern, but...
They did, Mr. Kent.
They did?
Yes. But by now, they must be someplace at the bottom of the ocean.
At the bottom of the ocean?
Yes. But let me tell you all I know from the beginning.
This is incredible.
Please listen, Mr. Kent. Early this morning, a Mr. Wilson called on me and identified himself as an American Treasury agent.
Well, what's he got to do with it?
Mr. Wilson was seeking the diamond smugglers, and by means of the information you collected in Metropolis, he followed a trail to Roger Kilfern, who he believed was the man in charge of the actual smuggling operations. Now
Well, never mind all that, Commissioner. What I want to know is where...
All this is essential, Mr. Kent. Please let me continue.
Sorry.
Yesterday, we picked up a giant Chinese, one Singh, who was known to be Kilfern's personal servant.
Oh?
Singh confessed that your friends, Bruce Wayne and young Grayson, had come aboard Kilfern's houseboat 2 nights ago.
Uh-oh.
And had engaged in a furious fight with Kilfern and his men.
And you mean Bruce and Dick were killed?
No, not then. During the fight, Kilfern escaped from the boat to a secret airstrip in the woods, where he apparently kept a plane for his smuggling operations. Your friends pursued him.
Yes, then what?
Kilfern took off in his plane just as your friends arrived. But they hurled themselves at his landing gear, seized it, and were carried aloft over the sea, dangling in the air.
Great Scott.
And I assume they must have fallen when they could hang on no longer. Or the wind...
Oh, don't be too sure of that. Bruce and Dick are great acrobats. They may have lashed themselves to the landing gear, and they may have ridden it out.
Possible, Mr. Kent, but highly improbable.
Oh, you don't know those two. But where did Kilfern fly them? That's what I've got to know.
That I cannot tell you.
What?
I have no idea.
Wait a minute. Kilfern knew Bruce and Dick were onto his operation. So the chances are he made for the island where the radioactive diamonds come from.
What island is that?
Oh, if only I knew. Look, Commissioner, you say you caught a couple of Kilfern's gang. Maybe they know where the island is.
No, Mr. Kent. They know nothing of any island, nor of where the diamonds come from.
No?
You may take my word for that. I grilled them myself.
Oh, then where do we go from here? Bruce and Dick must be in danger, and with Kilfern flown the coop, I don't even know where to start to look.
I wish I could aid you. One moment.
What?
The Treasury man, Mr. Wilson.
Yes?
He said he had an idea of where the diamonds come from.
He did? Where is he?
At the King George Hotel. where your friends walk.
Oh, then he's the man I want to see, and fast. Thanks, Commissioner. I'll check with you later.
Can the Treasury agent tell Superman the location of the fabulous island? We'll be back in a moment to find out, so keep listening.
They introduced him to strangers as Mr. Stone, this chunky, cheerful man who looked over the settlement and hills of Palestine with the practiced eye of a soldier. This hilltop, he would say, should be fortified. That road can be used for emergency withdrawal. Only a handful of men knew who he really was. A chosen few knew that this mysterious Mr. Stone was the famous Colonel Mickey Marcus, who was carrying on the American tradition of helping all those who fight for freedom and democracy. David Mickey Marcus had been one of Manhattan's ace gang-busting assistant district attorneys. But when World War II broke out, the ex-West Pointer went back into uniform, into the front lines to fight for his country and the liberty she stood for. While overseas, Colonel Marcus won the Distinguished Service Cross and the Bronze Star Medal for gallantry in action. You see, Mickey Marcus was no swivel chair soldier. He didn't enter Normandy in a command car. He came down in a parachute. When the war ended, Marcus came home. But he didn't stay there very long. For the government of Israel asked him to help them defend their new nation against possible Arab attack. He answered this call and was made supreme commander of the forces defending Jerusalem. Mickey Marcus proved indispensable to the Israeli forces, until 2 weeks ago, when up in the hills of Palestine, an Arab bullet killed him. Now the citizens of the United States mourn him as do the citizens of Israel. Last week, he was buried at West Point with full military honors, as befitted a man who had helped repay America's debt to the courageous men from many lands who came to our aid back in 1776.
And now, back to the adventures of Superman. Rushing to his hotel room in Shanghai, Clark Kent talks with Treasury Agent Wilson, who tells him...
Yes, Mr. Kent. I'm quite sure I know where the radioactive diamonds come from.
Where, Mr. Wilson? Tell me.
From a meteor.
A meteor?
Right. From a meteor which fell to Earth not too long ago, considering the high amount of radioactivity which is still present in the diamond.
Wait a minute. I know that diamonds are sometimes found in meteorites, but they're microscopically small and coal black. These diamonds are various shades of white, and they're huge, as big as eggs.
I know, but the tiny black diamonds you're referring to are found in iron meteors, Kent.
That's right.
I'm referring to stone meteors.
Stone? I didn't know that.
Very little is known of stone meteors because they're so very rare. But we've analyzed the stone adhering to the radioactive diamond you recovered in Metropolis. There's no question of it being meteoric.
Well, if you're right, Mr. Wilson, where is this meteor? Tell me and I'll...
That I don't know, Mr. Kent. Not yet.
Uh-oh.
But I propose to organize an expedition to search for it. How about your coming along?
No, that'll take too long. Afraid Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson are in immediate great danger. Besides, any number of radioactive diamonds may be smuggled into our country before you locate the meteor island.
True, but there's no faster way. We use planes.
Yes, there is a quicker way. The only way that might work out in time.
What way is that, Kent?
My way, and I'm going to get started at once. This instant. Wish me luck, Mr. Wilson.
Certainly, but I don't understand.
And I can't explain. I'm off now. So long.
Hurrying away from the puzzled Treasury agent, Clark Kent pauses in the deserted hotel garden to strip off his street clothes. And a moment later, he takes to the air in the blue costume and red cape of Superman. Up, and away! Rocketing up into the China sky, the Man of Steel flashes out over the vast ocean to begin his search for the fabulous island of radioactive diamonds. And for Batman and Robin, who at this very moment have been placed in the vault filled with huge, deadly radioactive diamonds to die. And even Superman, with his great powers, discover the tiny island in time to save the lives of Batman and Robin. There are thrills galore in tomorrow's climactic episode, fellows and girls, so be sure to listen. Tune in, same time, same station, for Chapter 17 of The Secret of Meteor Island on The Adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC Comics magazine and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time. Watch for the Superman Adventure serial, soon to be shown at your local movie theater. This program came from New York. Stay tuned to your mutual station for Adventure Parade, which follows in just a moment. And right after Adventure Parade, you'll hear Tom Mix and his Ralston Straight Shooters. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with amazing physical powers far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, wages a never-ending battle for truth and justice. Today, on a secret radioactive island, Charlie Fox, a smuggler, reports to his partner, Roger Kilfern, on the fate of Batman and Robin.
Okay, Kilfern, you can forget all about Batman and Robin. What did you do to the book? I locked them in the diamond vault. The diamond vault? That's right. There, as you know, the rays from the stone will finish them in a hurry.
Say, boys and girls, have you ever watched a house being built? If there's one going up anywhere around your neighborhood, I'll bet you have. Because even grown-ups find it so fascinating, they'll spend hours and hours being sidewalk superintendents. And if you get tired of watching one operation, there's always something else to catch your eye. The masons pouring the concrete, the carpenters, the steelworkers putting up the framework, the bricklayers, the plumbers, the electricians, the roofers. There are many different groups of craftsmen who work together to put up a house, and each with something very important to add. Now, gang, that's the way this country was built, too. Lots of willing workers, people from all over the world, people of different races, different origins, and different religions, all contributed their skills and their cultures in an effort to build the best country on earth for themselves and their children and their neighbors' children. So far, the building has been going very, very well, because there isn't a better place to live in the whole world than in our United States. But you're never quite finishing building anything so big as a nation. There's always something you and I and everybody else can add to make it stronger and better and a happier place for all. And just as a bricklayer could never build a satisfactory house without the carpenter to build the framework, or the roofer to put the cover on it, so every single one of us is needed for the job of continuing to build our country. Remember that, gang. In order to keep our country growing straight and strong, we must work side by side with all our fellow Americans. We've got the finest blueprints to work by, the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution with its Bill of Rights. And if we keep working to build according to those plans, we can't go wrong.
And now, the adventures of Superman. On a secret island in the South Pacific, which is the source of deadly radioactive diamonds being smuggled into the United States, the famous Batman and Robin face death at the hands of the smugglers. Meanwhile, on the trail of his friends, Superman takes off from Shanghai, China, to search for the unknown island with only two slender clues to guide him. A suspicion that the island consisted in part of a meteorite and that it lay not too far from Shanghai. Now, his crimson cape streaming in the wind, Superman is rocketing through empty gray skies, his keen eyes searching the vast wastes of heaving ocean below him.
No sign of that meteoric island yet. But if there is such an island, I'll find it. I must. Away! Faster!
As the Man of Steel hurtles through the air, wheeling and darting like some great hawk, Batman and Robin give up hope at last. Propped on the floor of a large rock vault on the secret island, without strength to move, they gaze with heavy-lidded eyes at the wondrous sight of hundreds of fabulous diamonds, strewn and heaped in piles all about them. The gems, varying in size from a pebble to an oversized egg, are smoky and unpolished, but in their depths flash vivid fires, blue and red and green and orange, and they gleam through the darkness of the awesome vault like the baleful eyes of unseen beasts.
Batman,
Yes, Robin?
I'm so weak. I can't lift a finger.
Yeah, so am I. The rays from these radioactive diamonds that are getting us.
I know. How long do you suppose it'll be before we're fitted up with halos and harps?
Not long, I'm afraid. I should have left you in Shanghai to contact Superman.
Oh, brother. Oh, I'd like to see that big boy now.
Not a chance. We're the only ones on the side of the law, I mean, who know about this island.
Oh, if we could only beat this radioactivity long enough to get our hands on Kilfern and Fox.
If we could, I'd go out happy.
It's no use. I'm just getting weaker. Batman.
What's the matter, Robin? Robin. Robin, answer me. Poor kid. I guess he's done for. I just about am. I never thought we'd go out this way. Oh, I can't hold my head up anymore. No strength. I guess this is it.
There's a little island up ahead. Away! Oh, another false alarm. No Meteor, no diamonds, no Batman and Robin. If that island does exist, it can't be much farther from Shanghai because I know Kilfern shuttled back and forth from it. I must find it. I must. Up! Away!
Okay, Kilfern, I'm ready. You better put your protective suit on if you're coming outside with me to the plane.
All right. All right, Bob. Hey, what about Batman and Robin? Will you leave them here?
Yeah, sure. If the radioactivity in the diamond vault hasn't finished them yet, it will in a few minutes.
The stone's packed in the plane.
At least $500,000 worth.
How about the lead glass coating? You sure he won't crack and let the rays out like he did on that batch we sent to Metropolis?
Don't worry, Kilfern. The coating will last long enough for us to unload all our stones and get away with our money. After that, who cares what happens? Do you?
Oh, of course I do. Hey, what's that noise? I don't know.
There it is again.
It sounded like an earthquake.
I felt the floor shake.
Hey, Foxy.
What's the matter, Joe?
Is there an earthquake?
No, something come out of the sky.
What do you mean?
Come out of the sky, I tell you. Something blue and red, and it blasted down through the diamond vault, smashed it all to smithereens, and then it went shooting up into the sky again with Batman and Robin.
What are you talking about?
And that red and blue thing, whatever it was. Look, Foxy, I ain't
What?
That's it. That's him. See? He's got Batman and Robin.
I'll just put them down.
Where's my gun? Shoot him, Bob.
I'll take care of him.
Give me that gun. You ought to know that bullets can't hurt Superman. Oh, you want to play rough, eh, my murdering friends? All right, if you must.
Well, certainly didn't take you long, Superman.
Are you all right, Batman?
Sure. Thanks to you, chum. Still pretty weak.
How's Robin?
Well, he hasn't come around yet.
Who hasn't?
Hey, Rob.
Thank heaven.
How are you, boy?
I'm weak as a kitten, but I'm raring to go.
Now you
Attaboy.
Oh, my. Don't Kilfern and Fox look pretty. Laid out like rugs.
You said it. Hey, how did you ever find us, Superman?
Oh, a bit of deduction, plus a tip from a T-man, plus a lot of looking. I'll give you the details later. Where did the diamonds come from? Did you find out?
Sure, Superman. That hump at the end of this island is a meteor full of radioactive diamonds.
Oh, I see.
Fox and Kilfern got wind of it somehow and took the place over. They assembled a gang and set up distribution headquarters in Shanghai, and we're all set to make more money than there is in Fort Knox.
Well, fortunately, we nipped that little scheme in the bud. Look, Batman, you and Robin stay here. This house seems to be radioactivity-proof while I round up the rest of Kilfern's gang. Then we'll take a fast trip to Metropolis on the Superman Clipper and let the police and our scientists take over here.
That sounds okay to me. Let's get going, Superman.
Leaving Batman and Robin briefly, Superman rounds up the rest of the smugglers' alarmed gang. Then, placing them and their disgruntled employers in Kilfern's plane with Batman and Robin, he streaks away from the fabulous island to Metropolis. So another thrilling and amazing adventure comes to a happy conclusion for Superman and his friends, Batman and Robin. But even as they streak confidently through the skies toward Metropolis, another menacing threat is being poised at all three of our friends. Yes, a new and dangerous adventure is awaiting them in Metropolis at this very moment. There's thrilling excitement for you in the climax of today's episode. So keep listening.
Gang, earlier in this program, we were discussing how much fun it is to watch a new house being built in your neighborhood. And when the house is finished and the construction men take up their tools and move on to their next job, it's fun to meet your new neighbors, too. But boys and girls, I hope you're not the kind who think you're entitled to lord it over the new kids of the block just because you've been there a long time, because they don't yet know their way around the neighborhood. That's not the American way of doing things at all. The American way is to make it your business to meet them, be friendly, and teach them the score. It might just happen, you know, that the safety of your family and of your house may one day depend on your neighbors knowing their way around, to the doctor or the nearest fire alarm box or the police. What we must always keep in mind is that, after all, America is really one giant neighborhood. And as time is counted in history, all of us are newcomers, in a manner of speaking. And what counts is not whether our ancestors moved in the neighborhood 10 years or 50 years or a century before somebody else. The important thing,
is that we must always be good neighbors. We must always do whatever we can to help newcomers adjust themselves, as our parents were helped by those who came before them. And it doesn't matter what their race or religion may be, or whether they speak English with a southern drawl, a western twang, a broad New England A, or a foreign accent. That's not at all important when you've got to get together to fight a fire, a flood, or a pestilence. So just remember, boys and girls, that the first rule for good neighbors is the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you.
And now, back to the adventures of Superman. As our story continues now, several days have elapsed since Superman's adventure on the Meteor Island. It is shortly past midnight when the insistent ringing of his bedside telephone awakens Clark Kent.
All right. Oh.
Oh, that you, Clark?
Yes, who's this?
This is Bruce.
Huh?
Bruce Wayne, Batman.
Oh, hello, Batman. What on earth?
Clark, I've got to see you right away.
Well, now, look, it's after midnight, and I'm...
This is important, chum. I need your help, desperately.
Oh, well, all right. Where do you want me to
I'll
meet?
pick you up in front of your apartment house in 15 minutes.
Okay. Hey, sounds terribly upset. I wonder what's up now.
15 minutes later, Superman, in his guise of Clark Kent, emerges from the front door of his apartment house, just as Bruce Wayne's powerful Batmobile comes racing down the street, its powerful headlights boring twin tunnels of light through the darkness. As the sleek, streamlined car glides to a stop in front of him, Kent opens the door and slips into the front seat beside his friend. But before he can voice the questions that form on his lips, Batman guns the engine and his car roars down the street. Only after they have sped through the city of Metropolis and have reached the 4-lane state highway in the suburbs does Bruce Wayne finally relax enough to turn to Kent.
Thanks for coming with me, pal. That's all right. Can you tell me now what this is all about?
Yeah, but hold your hat, chum, because what you're about to hear is guaranteed to curl your hair. Tensely, Clark Kent waits for the grim-faced Batman to reveal the reason for his urgent request for help. And in tomorrow's episode, you'll learn that Batman was only half kidding when he warned Clark Kent that the story he was about to hear would curl his hair. So don't fail to be with us tomorrow, same time, same station, to begin a new and excitingly suspenseful story of action called The Voice of Doom on The Adventures of Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Superman DC Comics Magazine and is brought to you Monday through Friday at the same time. Watch for the Superman Adventure serial soon to be shown at your local movie theater. This program came from New York. Stay tuned to your mutual station for Adventure Parade, which follows in just a moment. And right after Adventure Parade, you will hear Tom Mix and his Ralston Straight Shooters. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.